doubtful on the injury report because of that injury to the hammy from a couple weeks ago. There was discussion, there were talks that we might see Christian McCaffrey make his way back onto the field for the Panthers yesterday, but he was listed as doubtful. He was held out. I think that was the correct decision. And I said the reason I believed that it was the correct decision was because, Lonzo, for a ball club that I still expect to be a 500 ball club at the end of the year, and yesterday, that's what they look like. If you can't beat the Philadelphia Eagles at home, at the bank, without CMC, I hate to be a naysayer, Lonzo, but if you can't win that game without CMC, it doesn't matter if you make the playoffs or not. If you can't beat Philly at home in a game that you need in order to maintain momentum, how do you think you're going to, without Christian McCaffrey, and hell, maybe with him, go on the road down to Tampa and beat Tom Brady and the Bucs in their stadium? How are you going to go to Arizona and beat Kyler Murray? How are you going to go to Dallas where you've already got snapped off and beat Dak Prescott? If you can't beat Philly at home without CMC, it doesn't matter if you make the playoffs. You're a first-round exit, and at the end of the day, what's the difference between letting the guy rest, saving the tread on his tires, saving him from potential further complications and injury, letting him get to 100%, and getting set up for a run next year? It wouldn't have mattered if you lose that game without him. It doesn't matter if you go to the playoffs or not, Lonzo. You're losing in the first round.
Well, you didn't really need him yesterday. You should have won. The Panthers should have won the game. They absolutely should have won the game. I do believe if McCaffrey would have been in there, they absolutely would have won the game. For a couple of reasons, Sam Darnold's favorite outlet would have been there, and maybe he wouldn't have thrown those interceptions. Suddenly, the last two games, he's back to the Jets, Sam Darnold, and just throwing the ball to the other team an awful lot. And I get that the line is pretty bad and that he's running for his life, but some of those throws he did not need to make. But if you had Christian McCaffrey out there, who always is open, he could have thrown the ball to him and everything would have been fine. But I don't know what expectations were for this season for unrealistic fans. I expect them to have a shot at a wild card. When they get to said wild card, I expect them to lose. But if they play to potential, there's no reason why they shouldn't be in a wild card. Should they not want to at least be there? Because you're making it sound like that they don't need to be there.
No, but my question is this. When did y'all's expectations jump from? And maybe I'm misinformed here. Maybe I'm misinformed. But I go back to our preseason predictions, Lonzo. I go back to our preseason predictions from the beginning of the year. And do you recall where you selected the Carolina Panthers to finish within the NFC South?
I do not remember, no.
Third place at best. You said they might get by Atlanta. We both picked Tampa Bay to win the division, and we both picked New Orleans to come in second in the division. When we picked our wild card teams, you did not pick Carolina as a wild card. And here's what I'm bringing up. Because I think Lonzo, to me, is representative of a large swath of Panthers fans. At the beginning of the year, you guys, like me, all thought the Panthers were a 500 ball club this year. Maybe they get very lucky and the NFC would be down and they backdoor into a wild card, but nobody outside of a couple of diehards picked Carolina to be a wild card team. They beat 3 bad teams to open the year, and then all of a sudden the expectations are playoffs? Well, I don't see it.
Yeah, but see, you're making it sound like you have to make a prediction at the beginning of the season and not change what you feel about the team. I think now, I think they're ahead of schedule in some ways, and I think they have the potential to make it to a playoff game, to make it to the wild card. I absolutely think they have the potential. Will they? I don't know. We'll see. If they continue to go the direction they've went the last couple games, absolutely not. If they play like they did the first 3 games, then they got a shot at it.
I'm not saying that your prediction at the beginning of the year.
By the way, for second place right now. So you could almost say they're in third place.
Fair. Good effort. Good reach. Point that I'm making is they had 3 good games against 3 bad teams, and then all of a sudden they're I think they showed yesterday they're not a playoff team.
There is no team in the NFL right now that you could look and go, man, that team's going all the way without a doubt. There is no team.
There are about 9 teams that I can look at and go, these are the teams that 2 of them will go all the way.
I haven't seen a team that I go, wow, no one's touching this team.
No, but right now, if I asked you to put Carolina up against Tampa Bay and set a spread on that game, which pick? Honestly, which pick? After you saw them lose to Philadelphia at home, what's your pick?
And who did Tampa Bay lose to?
What's your pick for Tampa? Fine.
Healthy this season. We lost some people.
Let's say CMC's back. If I put those 2 teams, if those 2 teams play this Sunday, who wins? Put a check on it.
This Sunday.
Mm-hmm. This Sunday. And let's say CMC's healthy. Put it down. Who's your winner? With a paycheck on the line.
You keep adding things to this. Suddenly there's a paycheck on there.
I gotta put some stakes on it.
Well, no, that's not. You don't have to put stakes on it because that changes what people are willing to do. If there are no stakes on it, I definitely think they have a shot. So you're saying they have no shot to beat Tampa Bay right now?
The very good LA Rams, by the way.
Well, yeah. That if I was going to pick a team right now, the Rams would be up there.
Correct.
As far as, but they also almost lost to New England.
Yeah, but that we had I'm glad you brought that up. Save all this. We're coming back to this later. In the meantime, a very quick run through of that thing we do to start the show.
Let's do lunch.
This is a very nutritious lunch. All the food groups are represented.
What in the wide world of sports is going on here?
Well, let's break down the 3 things you have to know before you go start talking sports with a friend's family, coworker, or the dog, whoever you spend your lunch break with. This will be the scuttlebutt. These will be the things that you will need to know. We start with item number 1. It took him 11 rounds to do it. We thought there was going to be a chance. It looked for a minute like there would be a chance that Deontay Wilder might puncher shot his way into a dub, but ultimately the Gypsy King walks away, your winner, Tyson Fury, with an 11th round KO of the big man out of Tuscaloosa, Alabama. 2 knockdowns by Deontay Wilder. I think one of them, Lonzo, was because Fury was making a real effort to lean his weight onto Deontay, right? To make Deontay carry him and try to wear him out. I think the first knockdown, honestly, was Tyson was leaning his weight on Deontay. Deontay kind of hooked him and then just shoved him to the ground. But it counts as a knockdown either way. 2 knockdowns for Deontay. Deontay had probably 2 or 3 other moments. In fact, there was a moment ending the 9th or the 10th round where Deontay had 2 really good combinations that kind of stumbled Tyson Fury for just a second. There was a chink in the armor of Tyson Fury for a minute, but when it got to the 11th round, Lonzo, Tyson Fury showed that not only does he have an iron jaw, but he has stamina unlike any other heavyweight in the game. Tyson Fury with an 11th round GTS KO of Deontay Wilder. He is now, without question, the best heavyweight in the game.
Without question. I am curious, since you spent a lot of time in a boxing camp before, is the leaning, is that something that's taught, or is it just something that guys just pick up?
No, it's absolutely taught. It's absolutely a strategy, especially the heavyweights, right? Because you're talking about guys that are not designed, not built, and not used to having to go 12 rounds. Most heavyweight let me phrase that. Many heavyweight fights, somebody's going to sleep before the 8th or 9th. They very rarely make it 10, 11, 12 rounds. And so what happens is when you get these big boys that don't have the stamina to go 10, 11, 12 rounds, the strategy, if you can pull it off, and it can be dangerous, like it was to Tyson Fury, is when you get in tight, when you get in real close, right? You get the arms hooked. I don't know how much of it you got to watch, but the words that you heard the referee saying quite a bit when these 2 guys were grappled up is your hands are free, your hands are free. Because what you want to do is you want to lean in on the guy because you want his legs to be carrying your weight, a part of your weight as well as his own.
Especially a guy who complained about weight from the last fight.
Correct. Both of these guys fought at the heaviest weights that they have ever fought. you know that Deontay is not a guy that's going 11, 12 rounds. He likes to put you to sleep in the 6th, 7th, 8th. So you take a half of Tyson Fury's upper body weight and you lean it onto Deontay, and what you're trying to do is get top leverage and lean down so that guy is having to physically use his quads and push into your body weight to keep you from pushing him backwards into the rope. Because if you can push him backwards into the rope where he's got no retreat and you're already close, boom, you start launching those body shots, right? You try to get his hands down, then you come over the top with a hook or a cross, and you put him night-night. Well, Deontay, I think, got to the point where he figured out that Tyson was not only leaning on him to make him carry some of Tyson Fury's body weight, but had a lot of forward lean while he was doing it, like a lot of forward lean. And Deontay, I think, got to the point, and he only did it once, which kind of surprised me, where he let Tyson lean. He took 2-3 steps back, and as he was retreating from Tyson Fury, when Tyson would lean, he would just kind of do what we would do with each other when we were boys and making fun of each other. Once the lean was in, he took his left hand because he tried to keep his hands free, right? If you're leaning, you're trying to keep your hands free. That's why what you'll see, if you go back and watch this fight, when Tyson's leading on Deontay, you will see Deontay, Lonzo, trying to get his arms under Tyson Fury's, because if he can hook his arms under Fury's, the referee's going to break you up. But if Tyson can keep Deontay's arms outside from his sides, from going under his armpits, then those hands are free. It's not a grappled state, and the ref's going to let it go. So Deontay, I think, let Tyson get where he wanted to be, let him lean on him, and then he kind of quick step to the left, put his hand on Tyson's back, and just threw him down to the ground, but it scored as a knockdown, right? And he had 2 of those. He had 2 knockdowns on Tyson Fury. But when you got to the 10th round, Lonzo, the momentum was completely shifted. The momentum was completely and entirely shifted. At that point, Tyson Fury, who had been knocked down twice, who had taken it was either the end of the 8th or the 9th, took a nasty combinations of punches from Deontay. In fact, I would even go so far as to say at the end of that round, the luckiest moment for Tyson Fury in that night, Zoe, was that he got saved by the bell, because Fury got hit by 2 or 3 solid combination punches from Deontay Wilder, got stumbled, and when he stumbled forward. And when he stumbled forward, he stumbled into the corner. It's one thing to be on the ropes. It's another thing to get backed into a corner, because now if you're on the ropes, you can still kind of slide left and right to try to get an angle to get out. If you're in the corner, there's no left and right. You can only come out straight ahead. Well, Fury got knocked a couple of combination punches into the corner. Wilder was about to tee off on him at that point, and the bell rang. That was the luckiest moment of the night for Tyson Fury, because if that bell doesn't ring, there's a good chance Deontay at least knocks him down for a 3rd time. And then if you get knocked down a 3rd time, now the referee's looking. He's going, okay, this guy's almost done. He's been on the canvas 3 times. He's not coming up a 4th. I think Deontay at least knocks Tyson Fury down again a 3rd time, which kind of shifts the momentum of the fight, or at best, knocks him out. At best, knocks him out. He's got him in the corner. He's got Fury's hands out. What did I say about the fight last week? What was Deontay's best friend? Jabs and body shots, right? Do you remember the first round of that fight? Deontay came out throwing body shots like it was all he wanted to do in the world. And he got 2-3 rounds in. All of a sudden, you saw Tyson Fury, who started with his hands up protecting his face from that Deontay Wilder knockout blow. Lonzo, those hands were down around his collarbones, because he wanted to keep that elbow down to twist in and block those body shots, because Deontay tagged him in the kidneys 2-3 times. He tagged him down in the belly 2-3 times. And when those punches started landing, Fury's hands came down a little bit, and now Deontay had the shot, and he made it work a couple of times.
So is Fury that guy? I mean, everybody has that guy in sports that they just can't get past. Is Fury that guy?
For Deontay, yeah.
Yeah. So you think is he done?
Not that he's done. I mean, he's still look. It's one of those cases where you know who Deontay Wilder is in this situation. He's Drew Brees, right? He's damn good. He is one of the best at the heavyweight we've ever seen do it. The problem is, as good as Drew Brees is, there's a Tom Brady floating around who's even better, right? He is a generational superstar, is Tyson Fury. So Deontay Wilder is still a guy. If Deontay Wilder signs his next fight against Anthony Joshua, who also lost to Alexander Usyk last week or 2 weekends ago, if you give me Wilder Usyk or excuse me, Wilder Joshua right now to see who technically third, because honestly, even though Usyk beat him, I think Anthony Joshua wins that fight 9 out of 10 times. If you give me Deontay Wilder v. Anthony Joshua right now, I'll give you $75 for that fight. I'll give you $75 for the fight. Deontay Wilder, if there was no Tyson Fury right now, Deontay Wilder would be the best heavyweight on the planet. The problem is he's the Drew Brees of heavyweight fighters, and Tom Brady's right there. Tom Brady is right now dripping in gold, and he just can't get by him. And that's it, right? They're done. They're not doing it a third or fourth time. That was your trilogy. Fury won 2, Wilder won 1. That thing is over. They will not do it a fourth time until both of them are
There is, I can think of one way where it would happen. And that would be if Fury were to lose and Wilder were to come in and take on the guy who beat him and win the belt. And then Fury comes back to try to fight him for the belt.
Possibility. If Fury loses,
but you got to take their age into account too, and
right.
and how many.
You're also talking 4 to 5 fights down the road, right?
Right.
You're talking 4 for each. You're talking 4 or 5 more fights down the line. Because for me, Fury gets Usyk next, right? Alexander Usyk is next, and that's going to be a prize fight that Tyson Fury is going to be heavily favored in. He's going to get crowned. So now you're going to have Wilder, Joshua, and Usyk all sitting below him in the heavyweight division. Those 3 guys are going to have a round robin of fights to find out who gets Fury for a chance to take all the belts away. And honestly, I think it might be Deontay Wilder. But Wilder's got to beat Usyk, and he's got to beat Joshua both before he gets a shot at Fury. And Fury might very well fight the other 2, right? Because the thing is, Fury being the champ can start to kind of pick and choose his fights. He might very well decide, I'm going to fight Anthony Joshua and Alexander. I'm going to fight Usyk next to unify the belts. Then I'll fight Joshua because he's the next best who does not have an L to Tyson Fury. And if he smokes both of those guys, maybe Deontay Wilder, if Deontay Wilder also fights and beats Anthony Joshua and Alexander Usyk.
Well, Fury, I just looked it up because I was curious, is 33 years old. So, I mean, how much longer does he box?
Yes. Yeah, it's a good question. Deontay's like 35, I think 36. He's my age. So, I mean, these guys are on the back end. You're not wrong. All right, let's take a quick break. When we come back here in just a minute from right now, I have 2 things I really want to get into, but I want to talk Panthers for just a minute because there is a problem with the Carolina Panthers. Our buddy Rashad Beard joins us on Thursdays to talk with us about the Carolina Panthers, but I was listening yesterday to his Panther Eagles wrap-up podcast, and he had a take that I want to run for you guys because I think down the road, if this team does get better, might present a problem for you, even if the team's good. We'll give you that audio when we come back. I'm Rob Lonzo. This is The Rob Brown Show on ESPN Upstate. Did you go see Venom? OMG, what a movie. I have not, guys. I promise I'm going to, though. I promise I'm going to. In fact, me and the girlfriend are going this week to see it.
When they go to Syracuse, college football from over the weekend. South Carolina, they lose to Tennessee by a 45-20 score. They'll match up against Vanderbilt this Saturday in the Deep South's oldest football rivalry. As you heard right here, Furman picks up the win over Wofford 42-20. Coastal Carolina played last Thursday. Now they're back at this Wednesday when they play at Appalachian State.
With friends like Keegan, who needs enemies, right? No, the girlfriend wants to see. We've got Venom and James Bond both. She wants to see James Bond because Daniel Craig's hot. Daniel Craig was the waved the flag at the NASCAR race yesterday. I was in the same building as James Bond yesterday. How do you like dem apples? James Bond waved the green flag at the race yesterday. Daniel Craig.
Really?
Actual James Bond was in the building.
The actual one?
The actual one. I saw him with my own 3 eyes.
There's never been a better time to switch to Spectrum Mobile.
Yeah, it was kind of cool. They said as they come down the backstretch, they'll be waved green by James Bond himself, Daniel Craig. And I was like, oh, it is Daniel Craig. He was walking around down to the pits. It was kind of cool.
How tall does he look compared to the
Not.
Yeah, that's what I figured.
Not. Is one of those guys that, oh, now I understand why every shot is from down. See, how tall is Daniel Craig? 5'9". Daniel Roughton Craig. Wroughton is his middle name.
Maybe it's Roughton.
Roughton.
Yes, Roughton.
Roughton. He's married to Rachel Weisz.
Is he really?
Mm-hmm.
Didn't know that.
Mm-hmm.
I've always liked her in just about everything.
Love Rachel Weisz. Love Rachel Weisz. The Mummy 2,
Yeah.
where she started kicking ass and taking names. Love Rachel Weisz.
I loved her in Constantine too.
Oh, that's an underappreciated
Yeah,
movie.
where she played 2 different
Yeah.
roles too.
Underappreciated movie.
And then she just like shows up in
He's
movies.
a Marvel character, isn't he?
Yeah. No, DC.
Is he DC? Oh, he
Yeah.
is DC. That's right. I need a Batman demon movie with Constantine in it. So I am excited.
There is a Justice League Dark, and Batman
Yeah, I know
usually
that.
is
Yeah,
in
yeah.
it. And so there's
Yeah.
actually you could watch a couple. There are a couple animated films, Justice League Dark films with Constantine and Batman
They're on HBO, aren't they?
Yeah. on HBO Max. Yep,
Maybe we'll watch one.
they're pretty
I've
good.
seen one of them before because they have, and I forgot her name. What's the
Zatanna.
magician character?
Zatanna.
Yeah, she's great. Rob X's Brown, didn't you come in third last week? I absolutely did not, Steven. And I don't know who's feeding you #fake news. I
Well, there was one
in the first game. I beat him in the next 2 and bowled the high score of everybody on the night.
but one. I just want to point that out. Stupid alien fingers.
The Rob Brown Show back on your radio. It is ESPN Upstate. Rob, Lonzo, and you. 844-GSP, ESPN, 844-477-3776 is the number. I will grab clip number 4, if you don't mind, Zoe. So y'all know Rashad Beard. We have Rashad on the show every Thursday at 1 o'clock to talk Panther football. Well, yesterday, after the Philly-Carolina game, and y'all follow my guy Rashad at Panther Nation Podcast, Panther Nation PC on Twitter, and then search Panther Nation Podcast on YouTube. Rashad and his partner David go live on YouTube immediately after games. They react to the games, and it's good stuff. But I found something interesting as I was watching highlights. I was at the Roval yesterday, so I didn't get to watch the game. But I got back home, and I was DVRing and watching the game in replay. And I noticed something, and it was that the Philadelphia Eagles fans were very loud at the bank on Sunday. Like, it sounded like an Eagles home game. And I wondered,
to the point where I had to check, where are they playing at? Yeah. I had that problem too.
Yeah. And this happens every now and then. Like, it was the same with I'm humble bragging. It was the same with the Saints in Washington yesterday. The Who Dat chant was louder than a lot. It happens sometimes, but it shouldn't happen regularly, especially when you got a team that is 3-1 at this point, trying to get better. Well, Rashad was at the game. Section 108, he said. You're going to hear him say that here in just a second. Rashad was at the game. And before I talk about it, I want you to listen to this clip. And I want you, as somebody who, I know Rashad not super well, but we talk off the air sometimes. We talk football off the air, and we've met in person a couple times. I want you to listen. Rashad's a pretty level-headed dude. We've had Rashad on. He laughs and jokes with us, right? Rashad, listen to the I would say anxiety, but it's anger in Rashad's voice at what the bank sounded like yesterday.
I'm really upset. Number one, I'm really off at Panther Nation. Let me tell y'all something. I'm sitting in section 108. I'm at the game. I'm in these streets. Okay. I'm at the game, section 108. That's down at the bottom. Okay. Mad Eagles fans. Listen, our fan base has got to do better. If the Eagles were having a spelling bee championship, spelling that stupid word Eagles the whole damn game, okay? All day long after the spelling bee champs between them and the Jets a million times. We have got to do better, dog. And you know what's crazy is that, and you know why they travel well, right? We know the Eagles, they look at our seats, right? Our cheap seats compared to what they have to pay to go watch their team. And they're like, oh, we can go buy, this seat is mad cheap. So they fill our stadium up. It was so many Eagles fans in that. I don't think I've ever seen the bank like that. And I've been to a lot of games over the years.
Well,
I've been to a lot of games over the years, Dave, and I have never seen the bank like that.
One thing I'll say, though, with regards to that, I'm watching the game from the crib, and I will say they cheered more when the Eagles were doing things than anything else.
Bro, it was like that in real life. When Sam got the football in the fourth quarter and they started chanting defense, when Sam Darnold had the ball on the last drive and they started chanting defense, I was like, yo, where the hell am I? Like, what is going on? I felt I was in an alternate universe, an alternate time, a timeline. I was like, what is going on here? Ain't nothing you could do but sit there and try to. My voice is gonna be gone tomorrow. Ain't nothing you can do, bro. Ain't nothing you can do.
Listen to the frustration from a dude, Rashad. Says we were at the game. The Panthers are 3-1. If they win that game and go 4-1, it goes a long way towards shutting up the Rob Browns of the world, right? A long way. They go 4-1 a long way. And Rashad said the bank sounded like Philly. Lonzo said the bank sounded like Philly. He had to check and make sure that it was still the Panther logo painted on midfield. I was listening to it. I was rewatching the game last night. And it got to be the fourth quarter. And Shad was exactly right. The Panthers got the football, and I hear defense loud enough that it was coming over the TV broadcasters. I have been told since I got here, Lonzo, that Charlotte is different than the upstate, right? That Charlotte, the Charlotte sports scene is different than the upstate. I have been told that Panthers games are effectively social outings, right? They don't go to football games the way that we go to Clemson games and South Carolina games, the way that we go to our local games. Hell, even Triumph and Drive and Swamp Rabbit games.
See, here's the problem for me. The only NFL games I've ever been to and the only NFL stadium I've ever been in is for the Panthers. So I have nothing to compare it to. except for college football. And
Sure.
that's a different atmosphere.
animal.
It is. So I have nothing to compare it to. I've heard the things that you're saying being said over and over again, but I can't go, yeah, you're right or you're wrong, because that's the only place I've ever been.
Look, I am in the corner of when the team is bad, I don't care if you don't go to games, right? Because it is an investment. It is not cheap to go to games. It is time consuming to go to games. If your team sucks and is not doing anything to get better and you don't go to a game, I'm totally fine with that. Because if you're going to go to a game, it's a 6 to 8 hour commitment. Tickets at even bad football games are $60 to get in the door. It's an investment to go to an NFL game. And if your team sucks, it's hard to justify. But the Panthers were 3-1. 4-1. The majority of teams that get to 4-1, Lonzo, historically, the majority of teams get to 4-1 go to the playoffs.
I have their schedule up, and I'm looking at it, and it is not that difficult.
Shouldn't be.
It is not.
This was supposed to be a stretch of 3 consecutive, very winnable football games before you get Arizona. That you should put 3 wins on the tally. The Panthers.
No, they're
could
still
have been 6-1 going into or 5-1 going up against Arizona.
I was going to say they're still winnable games before they get to Arizona. Arizona is until November 14th. You got the Vikings. They can beat the Vikings. You can beat the Giants. You can beat the Falcons. You can beat the Patriots. I mean, they could beat all. You can't look and go, there's no way. There's no way they beat the Vikings.
Not if you can't beat Philly at home.
That's transitive. That's crazy. No,
I understand the
no,
transitive
no.
property football is dangerous, but don't say. In fact, I got into a fight. I got into a discussion with a guy on Twitter about it the other day because I said I still think the Panthers end the year about 500, 9-8, 8-9, one of those 2 records. Okay, and he jumped in and he said, "No, the Panthers are going to be a 13-1 ball club."
I'm looking at it, and there are like 4 teams that I could almost guarantee they lose.
I agree, but here's the thing: if I'd have asked you last Friday,
it was
put Philly in the win column.
I would have
Philly in the win. No. What I said to the guy on Twitter was, I went game by game and listed the 8 games that I think they lose by the end of the year, and I went, Philly's a team that can beat you if your head's not on right. I think the Panthers did like the Panthers fans, and they got cocky. They went 3-0 against 3 bad teams, but went, hey, 3-0 stuff to do even against bad teams. We're good. We've made the step. We're a now-win team. And you're not. Texas says ESPN, I was at the Panthers game yesterday and was surrounded by Eagles fans. Section 116, lots of Eagles fans at the stadium. It sounded like it. So how's that help? Back after this on the Rob Brown Show on ESPN Upstate. Bow, bow, da, 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 bow, bow.
Negotiations continue. Simmons had asked to be traded, saying he'd never play for the Sixers again. Baseball's division series today. The Astros and White Sox have been rained out, but we've got the other 3 series on ESPN Radio. Coverage just underway of Game 3 for the Brewers and Braves in Atlanta. That series is tied at 1. Monday Night Football is in Baltimore. 1 Ravens hosting the 1-3 Colts. That game at 8 Eastern on ESPN. Miami Hurricanes coach
Rick Astley's got you, doesn't he? I knew it.
100%.
I knew it.
100%. 100%.
So a Rick Astley concert doesn't count as being Rickrolled, right?
I'll take it if it does.
No, it shouldn't count because you're
the,
going there specifically to hear him sing that song.
Just the one, though.
Yeah, so you can't.
You ever heard some of his other songs? The dude can pipe.
He had more than 1 hit.
Yeah, the dude can croon. Is this a tour that's coming here next year?
I believe
it is July 6th. Well, sorry, 4th of July plans. I'm busy.
Where's it going to be? Is it going to be a Heritage?
At the Well.
Oh,
yeah, it's a concert. Let me.
Be a lot of old people there, but
I am an old people now.
No. What I'm saying is, I might be able to go there and be okay as far as the crowd goes. Actually,
like
I might
to-
have to put my hair up, but
like to show you all the concert that we are talking about. That would be the NKOTB. Do the NKOTB still do the dances? Do they, or they like run out of steam an hour into the show? Salt and Pepper.
it might be well.
I love the idea of getting hit by Salt and Pepper, then a 45-minute Rick Astley set, and then In Vogue.
Out of those five, would like to see the most are the last two.
Astley and In Vogue?
Yep.
100%. Yo, Salt and Pepper is here, and we're in effect. Want you to push it good. I'm 100% down for Salt and Pepper too.
Was Salt and Pepper?
NKOTB is how I hooked Courtney into going.
Were they in the Never Gonna Get It song?
No, Never Gonna Get It was.
Yeah, but there was a rap group in there. For some reason, I thought Salt and Pepper was in there.
No, you're never gonna get it. Never gonna get it.
Now that's an ink worth celebrating.
The UPS store. Every ink for small business, all in one place.
UPS store.
It was In Vogue that sang Never Gonna Get It.
Right.
But
I thought, for some reason, I thought Salt and Pepper were
never
in there.
gonna get it, never 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 get it. What an absolute jam of a song. Yeah, Keegan, you're exactly right. All right, let me jump into this real quick. And I'm going to save that. I got a segment that's going to relate to something that happened last week on the show that I was thinking about, honestly, over the last week. Then I had a conversation about it on Sunday with a couple of friends. And then somebody else sent me a clip of Frank Martin, the head coach of USC basketball, saying something that was in line with it. And I feel like, I'm going to go ahead and warn you in advance. I feel like those of you who are Little League parents, some of y'all are going to be very upset at me. And that's okay. I'm going to take it because my point is correct. So I'm going to tell you what I mean coming up here in just a little while. Before we get there, a couple of other things that I have wanted to mention on the show. And I need to get this out there. Friday, after I got off the air, I went downtown to Fall for Greenville, which, by the way, was an incredible. I had no idea how big Fall for Greenville was, Lonzo. I thought it was like,
and it was raining.
Dude.
Yeah.
It was insanity.
Yeah.
I thought it was going to be like one block, one stage,
By the way,
couple of tents. It was the whole damn town.
Envision me having to be there. So
you'd have loved it.
No.
You'd have loved it.
No, I would not.
You'd have loved
I've
it.
been there many times
You'd have
now.
loved it. I had no idea how big Fall for Greenville was. Like, it's on the calendar next year. It's like, that's just what I'm doing. There was food and drink and music. They got 3 concert quality stages going over there. It was great. It was awesome. But I was there on Friday because Rob Brown got asked to participate in a s'mores making challenge, which I did not win. Ladies and gentlemen, I did not win the s'mores making challenge. But I do have a problem. And I need you all to help me out with this because I feel like I'm right, but I've been told sometimes, Rob, you're a little overconfident. So Lonzo, I'll ask for your answer. And those of you listening out there in Radio Land, I'll ask for your answer. A s'more without graham crackers? Is that a s'more, Lonzo?
No, it's not. You got to at least have, even if it's, you know what, it's kind of loose. And I mean that. If you have crumbled graham crackers, you could almost argue it's okay, but you gotta have graham crackers.
Gotta have graham crackers. The individual who won the s'mores cook-off on Saturday or on Friday afternoon did not use graham crackers in her recipe, which to me is an automatic disqualification. If Gordon Ramsay was there, he'd have been pissed.
Or if you're watching, like, Beat Bobby Flay or any of those they always, or Guy Fieri, rather, all those shows, they have ingredients that they say if you don't when it doesn't count. I mean, you get chastised for sure. Did they at least get chastised for not using the graham cracker?
They won.
I'm trying to diffuse you.
No.
You're getting ready to make fun of me.
Texter says, Rob, it's only a s'more if it comes with chili and onions. So let me tell you what I did, and then let me tell you what the winner did, and let's see how you would judge it without the benefit of sight or taste. So what I did, they gave us a surprise. Every contestant, I think there were like 20 of us. Every contestant, Lonzo, got a secret ingredient, and it was unique to your s'more, and you had to use it. Mine was a cream cheese icing spread, okay? So what I did was come up with the Rob peanut butter brown surprise, all right? I took the jumbo marshmallow, I cut it in half, and then I used a spoon to hollow out the middle of the marshmallow. Then I took a Hershey's bar, like you know how you snap it into little rectangles? I took two little, I snapped all the chocolate so it was kind of like crumbled together. I dropped it into a half of the caved out marshmallow. Then I took a Reese's peanut butter cup and I cut the inside where the peanut butter is, the circle part. I cut that out. So all that was left was the outside ring of chocolate of the Reese's peanut butter cup. You know what I'm talking about? Like you can push the middle out and you just get the ring of solid chocolate with the little.
Absolutely. I know what you're talking about. Okay. Yes.
So I took the peanut butter in the middle, I rolled it into a ball, and I put it in the middle of the marshmallow with the Hershey's chocolate bar. Then I put the marshmallow back together. Then I took some marshmallow cream. I forget what it's called, but the whipped marshmallow, you know what I'm talking about? And I ran it around the outside to seal the marshmallow.
Looks like it's in a mayonnaise jar, but it's actually marshmallow.
But it's marshmallow cream. It's called like Mellow or something. Anyway, put that on the outside to seal the marshmallow back up. Then I roasted that marshmallow, right? With the peanut butter and the chocolate in the middle of it, sealed on the outside. I roasted that marshmallow over the fire. Then I took that marshmallow, I set it on the graham cracker. I took the ring of the Hershey's peanut butter cup, put it around the marshmallow. Then I took the graham cracker and I pushed them on top. So if you looked at it from the side, Lonzo, it looked like graham cracker. It looked like there was a whole Reese's peanut butter cup in there because it went all the way around, and then a graham cracker on the bottom. And then I took my cream cheese spread and I just spread it across the top of the top graham cracker, sprinkled a couple of chocolate chips on it. Boom. When you bit into it, it looked like you were just biting into a Reese's peanut butter cup with a graham cracker. When you bit into it, the chocolate and the peanut butter inside the marshmallow had melted. So when you bit into the marshmallow, you had basically melted chocolate and peanut butter coming out from the marshmallow, hence the Rob peanut butter brown surprise.
Sounds excellent. I do have a question though. Were these marshmallows actually roasted?
Yeah, they gave us a little like those little
Sternos?
Yeah. Okay. And they gave us one of those to roast over. So I had to. Now, what sucked was I couldn't, because they gave us skewers to roast them. I couldn't put a skewer through the marshmallow because I would have popped it open. So I literally had to take the marshmallow and hold it over the fire with my fingers and just pull it back and spin it and put it back. It sucked, but I will suffer for my art. Okay? I suffer for my art.
That makes it taste even better. Yeah. Knowing what kind of care and love that you had to put into your
risk my own health and well-being for these. Then so that's what I submitted. And I thought that was pretty damn good, to be honest with you. All right. The lady took her secret ingredient was a banana. She put on a skewer marshmallow, banana, chocolate, marshmallow, banana, chocolate. She roasted those. Then she drizzled chocolate syrup, caramel, and honey over the top of it. Fantastic dessert, Lonzo. Not a s'more. She called it a deconstructed s'more.
Deconstructed minus the graham cracker. You gotta have the graham cracker.
If I go knock over that building and turn it into a pile of bricks, I can't call it a deconstructed building. It's not a building anymore. It's just a bunch of bricks. She won. She beat the Rob Peanut Butter Brown surprise, which was artfully crafted, if I may, by just putting the ingredients of a s'more on a skewer and then putting them on a plate. Unbelievable. So I am claiming the 2021 S'mores Championship. I'm claiming it. It's rightfully mine because she didn't turn into s'more. I will fight. I will die on this hill for my s'mores. The Rob Brown Show rolls on after this. It's ESPN Upstate.
I'm not talking to him. I'm going to go my best monotone with him.
Corey, you're
with
up next.
Rashad, with all guests from now. If they're
I think the guests have caught on. Now the guests are going to try to force small talk.
If they're recurring guests,
just Corey, 1 minute, click.
or they may be watching. We'll find out. I think I may just go Southern accent. I just completely fell them off.
Hey, Corey, welcome on back, man.
This Corey, I'm coming from the ESPN.
Never gonna get it, never gonna get it, never gonna get it, never gonna get it.
Find it at forhims.com.
I didn't have to talk to a doctor at first. There was no copay. She was shipped right to my door in this sweet packaging.
Hims took care of it. Fast and easy. Now our love life is better than ever.
Get access to doctors online who can prescribe an FDA-approved ED medication if appropriate. The same active ingredient as name brands, but 90% cheaper.
Skip the waiting rooms and pharmacy lines. Get a free medical consultation and rise to the occasion or your money back. Go to forhims.com/joy to get your first visit free. No copay required. The only way to get this special offer is to go to forhims.com/joy. FORHIMS.com/JOY.
This report is sponsored by Lowe's. When it comes to flooring, Lowe's showroom is all about fashion and function. Check out stylish, durable brands like Bruce Hardwood, SmartCore, and Satori Tile. Order now, only at Lowe's. See in-store associate or product detail page for warranty information.
I swear I could get Dabo and Shane Beamer on the same show at the same time, and it would not get as many texts as food-related issues do on the show. ESPN Panda says, "Where can I submit my appeal to Rob for Rob to win after the s'more scandal of 2021?" Texter said, "Rob Peanut Butter Brown sounds like a terrible band camp nickname." Rob says, "That is a sophisticated s'more, man." Wow, yeah, no thanks. Texter says, "That lady's also an Astros fan. Can't let her win. She cheated." Texter says, "Rob, your s'more sounds good, but is it possible they saw you and were like, we cannot give the win to the guy roasting marshmallows with his fingers?" And we all, the s'more winner just made a fondue. I agree. 2 hours left. Back after this on the Rob Brown Show.
Mad World in the first break.
10-4.
Only 8 drivers are still alive for a Cup Series championship after Sunday's NASCAR Cup Series race at the Charlotte Motor Speedway road course. Kyle Larson picks up the win. He is followed by Tyler.
He's
Top 5. Chase Elliott won the first stage while Kyle Busch wins the second stage. So the 4 drivers who are eliminated from playoff contention: Kevin Harvick, Christopher Bell, William Byron, and Alex Bowman. The 8 drivers who are still alive: Kyle Larson, Denny Hamlin, Martin Truex Jr., Ryan Blaney, Kyle Busch, Chase Elliott, Joey Logano, and Brad Keselowski. They will run at Texas this upcoming Sunday. Download the Score app today. Lightning fast sports alerts so you never miss a thing. It's why the Score app is one of North America's most popular sports apps. With your ESPN Upstate Sports Center update, I'm Matt Pauley.
Have you heard the Rob Brown Show?
Sports is supposed to be where we go to have a good time with everybody else. We may disagree on politics, on religion, on worldviews of every type, but we all come together to love football together. The show is supposed to be your break from real life. When you clock out and sit in the break room and knock down your microwave pizza for lunch before you got to go back on the clock, do whatever you got to do, Lonzo and I want you to laugh at sentences like, "Those guys might lose a groin." All right? We're just having fun. That's the point. That's what we do. That's what the show is. That's how the show is structured from the beginning. That's how the show remains today. That's how the show's going to stay in the foreseeable future. So, to the texter who said, "You're too much, you're obnoxious, you're over the top," I will acknowledge to you that for many people, I absolutely am. And that's okay.
Hey, Greenville, Spartanburg. Catch the Rob Brown Show weekdays noon to 3 on ESPN Upstate. Keep up to date with every Upstate high school football game in real time with the ESPN Upstate score stream at ESPNUpstate.com. Set up a profile, create your feed, and follow your favorite teams. Know when the big plays happen and when the games go viral. The ESPN Upstate score stream. Get all the high school football scores in one place at ESPNUpstate.com. And check this out. We're on official Rob Brown lockdown. Represents Bigger Wave.
Yeah.
Unfiltered sports talk manufactured locally for the Carolinas. He's the Rob Brown Show.
Rob, so you're saying her s'more was not all the way graham cracker, marshmallow, and chocolate, like a hot dog with mustard, chili, and onion. Got it. The great hot dog war of 2021 continues.
No, these are false. The hot dog.
Yeah. If you order a hot dog and it just comes and you just get the Frankfurter but no bun, you'd be like, yo, hold up, unless you specifically request it with no bun.
Exactly.
I'm just saying, what she made was by the way, what she made looked incredible, Lonzo. I would order it from a restaurant. If somebody walked by me with that plate, I would have the fat guy response of, well, looks like I know what I'm having for dessert. It looked incredible. But it was not the 2021 Fall for Greenville Media Dessert Contest. It was the Media S'mores Contest. Mine, albeit a one with a bit of flourish, was a s'more. Hers was not.
If I was going into this contest, I would probably believe that the TV people, their presentations would be better because they're, used to a visual medium. But the two that you've talked about, yours, the rifle winner, and the one who won, both of those looked like they would taste good, and they both probably looked really good also.
Oh, hers looked phenomenal. Like it genuinely looked like an incredible dessert. It looked like an incredible dessert. However, you know what it did not look like? A s'more. Thank you, Lonzo. Thank you. So, after the great s'more scandal of 2021, I claim victory. I claim victory. You know why? Because I turned in the best s'more. She turned in the best dessert. I will give her that. It looked like an incredible dessert. But mine was a s'more. And I stand by that. So last week on Offsides with Mark Ryan, we had a story come in, and I'm not going to get into the minutia of it, but we had a story come in where there was an incident where an umpire said something online, said something during a game that started making its rounds online. And there were some parents of some little leaguers that were not super thrilled about it. And there's been a little bit of controversy that has surrounded that, okay? Because I've heard an interpretation of results. I've heard an interpretation of results of this controversy from different parents that were at this game. I'm not going to get into what happened, but I am going to say this. I have coached Little League ball. I have umpired Little League ball. I have refereed and coached Little League soccer. I have refereed and coached Little League basketball. And I haven't done it for a couple of years. Lonzo, if I gave you one guess, could you guess why it is that I have stopped refereeing, officiating, and coaching Little League sports? You want to take a stab at it?
As someone who used to be a parent in those situations, I would say it's because of the parents.
That is correct. That is correct. It is because of the parents. Now, this situation notwithstanding, I stopped being involved with Little League sports, not because I don't want to. I think Little League, I mean this, I think Little League sports is the best thing for a kid. If they're into sports. If they're not into sports at all, then it's not the best thing for them. But if they're into sports at all, Little League sports are the best thing you can do for your kids. Right? Because it is a solid foundation for learning life lessons. It is a great place for them to learn to win with humility. It is a great place for them to learn to lose with dignity and grace. It is a great place for them to learn a team mentality, to learn how to be a good teammate. It is the best place for them how to learn to work on themselves individually and be better individually within the context of a team. It is the best place for them to learn how to struggle at getting better at something, but to stick with it and keep going at it until you succeed. Little league sports are incredibly important for young people. But there is a point where things can get out of control. And in my experience, it is ordinarily the parents that end up with that spot. So I'm going to clip 3 here in just a second. When you are in a spot that you are upset with a coach, that you are upset with an umpire, that you are upset with a league, whatever, there is a responsibility that you as a parent have alongside the response. The kids have responsibilities. Show up to practice, be on time, practice hard, work to get better, learn to cooperate with your teammates, learn to listen to the coach because he's doing what's best for the team, et cetera, et cetera. But there are responsibilities for the parents that are involved in it as well. And those responsibilities are to let your child learn the lessons without your involvement, okay? You can help guide them through the learning process. But the process of understanding that sometimes you have to listen to a leader for the team to succeed is important. Sometimes to learn the lesson of, and this is the hardest one to learn, Lonzo, sometimes, as my old man used to say, hey, Robert, life is not fair sometimes. Sometimes you're going to have a bad umpire. And sometimes that umpire is going to have a strike zone that's bigger than it should be or smaller than it should be. Sometimes you're just going to have a pitcher who kills you. It happens. But you have to learn that lesson. And if you learn that lesson in Little League sports, then when you get to real life, you have a situation where you have, let's say, a bad boss who comes down on you harder than everybody else. You've learned how to handle that, how to not mentally break down, how to fight back and move forward with dignity. But there comes a point, and it has happened to me personally, where the parents get so involved that those life lessons aren't taught. They can't be learned because you got 100 voices coming at you. Now, I was thinking about this over the weekend, and I'm like, how do I present this in a way that I tell parents? Because here's the thing. Parents, as I had one tell me over the weekend, at the end of the day, I think Lonzo would confirm this, your kids become the most important thing in your life.
Without a doubt.
And you will guard them as if they are the most important thing in your life. So.
But you should also be an example of what you want them to be.
Absolutely.
And if you get out of hand, then you are showing them that's okay.
Absolutely.
And it's not.
One thing that I need parents, and I'm not speaking as radio guy Rob, I'm speaking as somebody who has been very involved in youth sports in my life, in my adult life. One thing I need you parents to understand is that as a coach, as an umpire, as a referee, as a whatever, your kid is not special to me. Okay? I had to tell a parent once. I had a baseball team that I was coaching, YMCA League of Fort Walton Beach, Florida. Lonzo, I had 31 kids on my team. You know why? Because they'd have 300 parents show up at every game and scream at us how to do our job. Not a one of them stepped up to coach a team. I don't have time for that. I'm going to tell you how to do it, but I don't have time to volunteer to coach. I have 31 kids on a team. Your kid's not special to me. He's special as a kid, but he's not any more special than the other. And I got to tell you, little Jimmy, that I stick in right field for 2 innings in a game so he can actually play because, he doesn't have an athletic bone in his body. And sometimes I got to get on him because he's chewing daisies out in right field. Your kid, who you think is going to the major leagues one day, is not more special than little Jimmy, who I frankly have concerns about. Okay? Because he's chewing on his glove again. Stop it, Jimmy. Put the glove down. It's for catching, not eating.
If you see me almost laughing, Rob knows why.
So, it's hard sometimes as a parent to recognize that your kid, while he is the number one thing in your life, he's not to the people running the league. He is a part of something bigger than you and than him or her, okay? A lot of parents these days, they can't accept that. that their kid's not more special than little Jimmy the glove eater. They have a problem with that. And so when somebody does something that they take as a slight, they don't put it through the prism of, did the coach say that because it's a team thing, or was he attacking my kid? He wasn't attacking your kid. He's coaching his team, or he's umpiring the game. And I'm sorry that it hurts Lil Jim Bob's feelings that he got called looking at a third strike that you don't think was a strike, but that's how baseball works. If you don't like it, then umpire next year. Volunteer your time. If you don't like it, then coach Lil Jim Bob's team next year. Do it on your time. Don't tell me what to do. Now, I was like, how do I frame this? Like how, because I'm just me. And the one response that I get, Lonzo, whenever I say stuff like this is, Rob, you don't have a kid, so you just don't understand.
When we get to a point, I have a prime example of this.
Sure.
And you let me know when, because I don't want to interrupt where you're going with this.
Absolutely. We'll come to that. Because I do want output. I do want input from those of you that have kids, especially kids that are playing Little League sports or have played Little League sports. But I got sent earlier today by somebody that knows that this topic was upcoming, a clip from Frank Martin, the head coach of the men's basketball team at the University of South Carolina. And Frank said something to this regard not too long ago that I found very interesting, and he makes a very good point.
I know this. I'm the most animated coach that you've probably ever seen when my team's playing. I go watch my kids play. I don't say boo. I don't wave my arms. I don't try to coach my kids. With all due respect to most parents out there, I probably know more about basketball than most of them. Okay? But I sit in the stands and I don't say a word. There's two guys refereeing a fourth grade game on a Sunday morning. What can they possibly be making? $20 a game? I used to do that. I used to make $12 for 10 and under, 15 for 15 and under, and 17 or 18 bucks for high school age kids. Okay. So on a Sunday morning, instead of being in church, those guys are out there trying to make a couple bucks to pay their bills, feed their families. Do you think they really care what fourth grade team wins? Do you really think that they sat at home and said, I can't wait to officiate that game tomorrow because that one team, I can't wait to get that 10-year-old kid and embarrass them in front of people? Do you really think that's what they're doing? I don't try to tell my kid how they should play. You know what I tell my two boys when they come ask me, Dad, why are you asking me, man? I didn't run your practice. Go talk to your coach. But don't talk about your coach in front of me, man. Because if you are, then you're not playing basketball. You don't understand why you didn't play better? Go talk to your coach. I'm not your coach. I'm your dad. Somebody disrespects you, then I'm here. If you fail, good. But don't come talk to me about coaching. I do this for a living, man. I'm not going to criticize a guy that's trying to help. And then the other part. So that's the officials. Do you think those coaches coaching fourth grade kids are making any money? So there's someone that's giving of their personal time on a Sunday for free to help others people's children. Yet we're going to have the adults in the stands yelling obscenities at the officials, criticizing every decision the coach makes, yelling at the kids like the kids, they're 10 years old, man. Like if they were LeBron James and Dwayne Wade playing in the NBA Finals, like the kids, they're 10 years old, man. Like if they were LeBron James, like they know how to handle their coach over here and their parent over here yelling at them. Then we wonder why kids get confused, man, why kids rebel, why kids don't know how to listen. How can you listen when you got so many voices in your head at the same time? You know what life teaches you? Shut things off. And that's the part that's frustrating to me. It's if someone wants to be so animated when there's a basketball game going on, then go coach the team. Go run practices. Show up every day at 6 o'clock at night and run an hour and a half practice. And then you got your team to coach, or be an assistant coach. Sit on the bench, yell all you want. I don't care if people on the bench yell at my kids. I got two boys. If they don't deal with my children, my children won't be on their team. My child acts up or doesn't do things the way that they're expected to do things by them, not me. And they let it happen, I'm taking my son off the team. I want my son to be challenged. Both of my boys. I want them to grow up. I want them to understand what life's about. But that's the part that's sad, man.
Thank you, Frank Martin, head coach of the men's basketball team at South Carolina. He made some important points to me there. Number one, for every parent who said, "Oh, this umpire's got it out for my team," he doesn't get. He wouldn't be there making, I don't know, $20, $25 a game, $13 an hour if they're lucky coaching big travel ball. Wouldn't be there if he didn't care. He's not out to get your kid. He doesn't know your kid's name. He doesn't know what your kid did for the last 6.5 days, and he doesn't know what your kid's going to do for the next 6.5 days. And he doesn't care. But I think what he said right there in the middle was very important. We wonder why it is that we have so many athletes that get to high school, get to middle school, get to college, and have issues with the authority of their coaches and assistant coaches. You know why? For a lot of them, it's because they got 53 coaches every time they play Little League sports, and it's what they got brought up to do, is to tune out everybody. Because they got a parent yelling at them, two parents yelling at them, other people's parents yelling at them. They got people running the league yelling at them. They got assistant coaches. They got head coaches. And there's so many voices of authority that are at them for the way that they're playing or not playing. Or something goes bad for them on the field, and they got mom and dad running out there to scream at the umpire and the head coach. Well, why did he get struck out? Well, because he missed the third strike. That's why. When they have that happen, they don't learn to deal with failure. Y'all want to know part of the reason that so many young people do not know how to handle failure? It's because as kids, they don't have to fail. Not all of them, but a lot of them. They don't have to fail. Part of the problem of a lot of athletes that don't know how to handle the next level is because at this level, I've seen it. I've done it.
I have a major example of this. My daughter was, I believe, 7 years old. They won the state championship for softball, went to Dyersburg, Tennessee, the longest drive in the entire earth, by the way, driving from one end of Tennessee to the other. We're there. They're playing a game, and a questionable call happened, and the parents started cursing. They started calling the referee names or umpire names, a bunch of stuff like that. And I leaned to my son, Cameron, who you've met.
Yep.
And I said, Cameron, see how they're acting? That's what you should not do. I want you to learn a lesson today. Don't ever be like that. And I said, keep watching and you'll see what happens. And one of the other parents that was sitting there quietly like I was turned around and said, yeah, watch what happens. So every other questionable call went against us.
Yeah.
Everyone. And I will tell you, my daughter is now 23. So she was 7 at the time. I still remember this. We rednecks, we going to show them how it's going. No, what you did is you showed your little girls how not to act. And the result is the exact opposite. You hurt the girls, you hurt the team because the referee did not give you a good call. I keep saying referee. The umpire did not give you a good call the rest of the game.
Yep.
They lost that game, and then all the little girls are sitting there and they're crying. Now, could they have beat that team? I don't know if they could have or not. I think they were playing Texas, if I remember. I don't know if they could have beat them or not, but all I know is those parents were showing out and saying that they had every right to act like they did, and they did not. And we just sit there and we were quiet. And I'm sure Cameron remembers that lesson to this day because they were obnoxious to the point I thought they were going to get violent over bad calls, 7-year-old little girls.
Now, I'll tell you this. Those umpires aren't out to get your kids. But you start calling them SOBs from behind the chain link over there, they will be now.
Yeah, I mean, it's only human. You're only human. When someone starts coming at you like that and saying, of course, you're going to be like, okay, all right.
You want to tell me I don't? Okay, I'll show you the power I got. Now, here's one more thing. I got told over the weekend, I got to talking to somebody who umpires Little League ball. And I asked them, do they have any horror stories? Like, do you have it? And they said, it happens every weekend. Happens every weekend. Where I get parents who start trying to step in and be the umpire. And he said, I do two things. Number one, I kill them with kindness. I go up and I go, hey, if you like, I'll give you an application. You can come out and be an umpire next year. He said, it's amazing how many of them have no interest in that. So the second thing is I go, here's the deal. You can stop in front of everybody else's kids or I can throw you out because they have the authority. I asked an umpire to give me his worst story. He said there was one team that he actively started. He said, I never do this, but I actively called against the team. And I said, why? And he said, because he said, I had a 12-year-old. It was a U13 game, had a 12-year-old kid. And he comes up and he watches 3 straight strikes. I said, strike 3. I'll ring him up, send him to the dugout. He said a 12-year-old child turned around to me and said, you're an effing idiot. 12-year-old kid, you're a blanking idiot to me. He goes, I tossed him. You're out. Said the coach came over and started screaming, you can't toss him. You can't toss him. He said, yes, I can. He called me this. He said, well, then don't be a bleeping idiot. So I tossed the coach too. So then the parents got at me. He said, I tossed like 6 or 7 people out of that game. 6 or 7 people got tossed for calling by the way, who at the time was like 17, 18-year-old umpire, volunteering his time to call these games so these kids could play a game. Got called a bleeping idiot by a 12-year-old, then the coach, then like 4 or 5 parents, then he had to toss them all from the game. Do you understand what I'm saying? Do you get where I'm coming from? Parents, I love y'all. All right. I'm not one. So I'm not going to tell you how to raise your kids because it's outside of my scope. But what I am going to tell you is how to act when your kid's playing Little League sports. Your coach is there to coach. Let them coach. You want to coach up your kid on your own time? That's fine. Teach him how to swing. Teach him how to rotate. That's cool. But when your coach is out there calling X's and O's, stop. You want to umpire? Go umpire. Go throw on the chest plate and the helmet and go stand behind a catcher for 2-3 hours calling balls and strikes. But don't umpire from the grandstands. If you're not an umpire, stop. Because these kids are out there to learn a lesson. And the problem is when we have parents acting like that, you're not teaching. I mean, you are teaching them a lesson, but not the ones you want them to learn from sports. You're teaching them the opposite. Take a break. We had some controversy in Major League Baseball last night, speaking of, that I want to get to as well out of that Red Sox-Rays game. Kind of an interesting moment. Nothing I've ever seen before, and it happened in a playoff game may have cost the Rays the game. They're not thrilled about it. I'll explain that when we come back. I'm Rob Lonzo. It's ESPN Upstate.
Matt Welp.
'21 edition of Mad World is open with all new horrifying rooms, scares, carnival games, escape rooms, and more. It is voted every
You did say 1:30, right?
Correct. 1:35.
You went really late.
I did. I'll just do a quick little 2-minute segment here, and then we'll get him in so that we only have one break after him. Or do you prefer to just get him on now? It's your call.
We're not going to be back from this break till another 4 minutes.
All right, go bring him on. I'll just do one.
So
you're the expert. I'm just a guy who screws up the clock and makes sure.
I would prefer that we go ahead and do it now,
Okay.
because the interview is only going to be about 10 minutes anyway.
Yep, that's fine.
So I don't know.
Go ahead and bring him up. Let's go ahead and do it now.
We'll fix whatever we need to fix.
Yeah. That's why Zoe's in charge, ladies and gentlemen. I'm just a guy who sits here and screws it all up, makes Zoe clean up the mess.
Spectrum Mobile has the most reliable service coast to coast. 5G
I'm not calling yet.
Corey, no time for small talk. You're going on. Hang on.
Sure, you can post your job to some job board, but then all you can do is hope the right person comes along, which is why you should try ZipRecruiter for free at ziprecruiter.com/radio. ZipRecruiter doesn't depend on candidates finding you. It finds them for you. Its powerful technology identifies people with the right experience and actively invites them to apply to your job. You get qualified candidates fast. So while other companies might deliver a lot of hay, ZipRecruiter finds you what you're looking for. The needle in the haystack.
See why 4 out of 5 employers who post a job in ZipRecruiter get a quality candidate within the first day. ZipRecruiter.
Hey, Corey,
is the
Lonzo,
smartest way
ESPN
to
Upstate.
hire. And right now, you can try ZipRecruiter for
Nothing much.
free.
I got about a minute. Hang on.
Free at
That counts. That counts.
Nope. I had to answer
That
his question.
counts.
I had to answer his question.
It still counts.
I had to answer his question. I'm not doing it.
That counts.
That is not small talk. You're not the judge, Keegan.
Oh, you know what? The Braves are on right now. Do you mind if we try to find it?
Yep.
Seriously, that's nothing to be able to protect your family and all you've worked for. You'd be surprised on how affordable a policy can be.
2 words does not a conversation make.
He asked you a question. You
Answer the question because I'm not rude.
Counts as small talk.
It's not small talk.
It is small talk.
Nope.
How is it anything but
Small talk. Conversation. It becomes small talk when you ask your own question on top of what was asked of you.
Disagree. It was small talk. Gonna talk some Major League Baseball coming up here in a few minutes. Braves game underway. We'll get you a score update in a moment. Got to talk about the controversy from last night's Red Sox Rays game. That's coming up in just a minute as well. But before we get there, let's go to the phone lines as we do every Monday at 1:30. And welcome in the South Carolina Gamecocks beat writer for the Greenville News. Mr. Corey Diaz joins us here on the show. Big C, what's happening, fella? How we doing, buddy?
Hey, man, doing very well this Monday. How are you guys?
Another day in paradise, partner. Another day in paradise. I appreciate you, by the way, interacting with Lonzo in that small talk you guys had.
Wasn't small talk.
That was absolutely small.
It was not small talk. You have to go back and forth, which I'm not doing.
He asked you a question.
I was going to say for background for anyone listening, Rob called Lonzo out one day last week about bringing guests on and not talking to them as he calls them up, and I threw my little 2 cents in and I said Lonzo runs away from small talk, never does it, and he was right on brand today again.
Right on brand. Hashtag brand.
From now on the call, hey, Corey,
you're
hang
up. Corey Diaz, Gamecock beat writer for the Greenville News, joins us here on the Rob Brown Show. You can follow him on Twitter at CORYDIAZ_TGN. Corey, let's start with the easy one, man. What the hell?
Okay, and nothing else following the word.
No, I feel like that's a pretty wide open enough question.
Sure. Look, man. I think this is not to try to sound cut and dry here, but let's be real and let's be honest. What Jeremy Pruitt left in Knoxville with his dismissal in terms of an on-field product versus what Will Muschamp left behind as an on-field product here in Columbia, they're worlds apart. I think Tennessee is a roster that, you did have some defects after Jeremy's ouster. You did have some guys transfer out. You probably had some guys that were committed to the former staff but decided to sign elsewhere. Just like the same scenario that happened here, of course. But what I think we saw in Knoxville inside Neyland Stadium on Saturday was kind of the proof to the differences in the quality of talent that was left at both programs. Now, again, there was a very brief signing period. I think Shane came in approximately 8 or 9 days before the early signing period was officially hired. And I think actually, Josh Heupel at Tennessee was hired after the early signing period and just had the what we all remember to be National Signing Day in February to, fill the remaining staff or remaining class, of 2021. But look, I think at every position, I thought maybe outside of the defensive line, I think Tennessee had better players at every position on the field, and I think we saw that. And maybe also too, place kicker. I think Parker White's probably one of the best kickers in the country. But that's neither here nor there. He didn't get very many chances because South Carolina didn't score very many touchdowns and didn't attempt to kick very many field goals on Saturday. So, man, just again, cut dry. Tennessee was better prepared and more ill-equipped to succeed this season or more immediately on the field than South Carolina was.
So my next question then is going to be, we were talking about expectations preseason. I said, look, 500 in a bowl game would be great. I think we kind of got to the point where a handful of us thought, well, maybe there's a chance they can do a little bit better. But I think we both agreed that Kentucky and Tennessee, you had to take one of the two if you were going to get there, with both being dropped. And hey, look, Kentucky went on, beat LSU, looks like a really good football team. Tennessee, I think, is further along. I agree with you, further along than we thought. Having dropped both, what's the view to you, and what do you think the view of Gamecock Nation is as far as where this team stands with the possibility of getting 6 in the bag?
I think it'd be grasping at straws, honestly, at this point, man. We're 6 games in, which basically we just, after the game ended on Saturday, we had officially surpassed the midway points of the season, and you're 3-3. Look, I mean, we could kind of break this down, right? We could look at what's left on the schedule, right? You got Vandy coming to Williams-Brice on Saturday. That's a win. That gets you to 4. Then you got to travel to A&M, who just knocked off number 1 Alabama at their place. From all intents and purposes, Kyle Field's probably top 5 toughest places to play. That's an L. You're 4-4. You get an off week, which is great. Obviously, very much needed at that point. You come back. You host Florida at home, a Florida team that It's going to be better at you at every position on the field. That's likely an L. Now, they did go up and lose it, at Kentucky a couple of weeks ago, which I think a lot of people were surprised by. But, I think as we're seeing now, I think we'll obviously get a much clearer picture as to exactly where Kentucky is as far as on-field talent and in-game coaching and things of that nature, when they play Georgia this coming Saturday. But and then you got to get back on the plane, fly to Missouri. Missouri looks like a raging dumpster fire to me. Outside of the Vanderbilt game, that's one that I can say might be a South Carolina win that could get you to 5. I'm gonna say today that they knock off Missouri at their place. That's 5 wins. You come back, you host Auburn. Auburn. I know I've said all along that I really thought Auburn was a gettable game. But South Carolina is going to have to greatly improve in a very short period of time, I believe, to knock off Auburn. That's probably likely a home loss, and then you close the year against Clemson, and who the heck knows? They were off this week, so we don't have a chance to chide them or praise them for whatever they did this past weekend. So wondering what the extra time to prepare and get some guys healthy and whatnot for Clemson, what that's done for that football team. So it's kind of too early to say there, man, but. I said at the beginning of the year, I thought four wins was probably where the expectations should be set. I think 4 wins is easily in the bag. There potentially could be 5, but I don't see a bowl eligibility season for the South Carolina football team. Had they knocked off Kentucky at home, yes, 100% for sure. Had they had been able to go to Knoxville this past weekend and pull a game out there, I think that would have created the type of momentum that a team, that's still dealing with some roster deficiencies and things of that nature, that would have probably created the right kind of momentum for them to be able to get to bowl eligibility this year. But they didn't do it. They went out and allowed 4 first quarter touchdowns and didn't look great there at the beginning. And so the hole was too deep and they couldn't claw back to really get within a puncher's chance. So, I have a hard time seeing South Carolina getting bowl eligible this year, man.
So, Corey, we were talking about the fact that there seemed to be some optimism, some excitement around this team, especially earlier in the year, a big week 1 win after the loss at Georgia. Said, hey, look, this is the best team in the country. It's not the end of the world. But we just got this text in. Texter says, South Carolina is a poorly coached team. Beamer needs to stick to special teams. I'm done wasting my Saturdays on this garbage of a product, end quote. Somebody who covers this team, who interacts with Shane Beamer, etc. What would your response be to the person who wrote that text?
I would say if a coach is only given 6 games to try to win a fan base over, I would say that you might as well just name a new head coach after every single football game, win, lose, or draw. I mean, that's just I get it. It's frustration. It's thinking that you are better prepared to compete, with a Tennessee football team that again ran up 28 points in the first 13 minutes of a game and kind of really just a huge, massive gut punch to, not only the football team that was playing Tennessee on the field, but obviously the South Carolina Gamecock fans. They've seen what Tennessee's been, the last 3 or 4 years and even longer than that. Tennessee was arguably one of the biggest raging dumpster fires in all of college football just a couple of years ago. And so I get the knee-jerk reaction to kind of what we've seen from Shane and his staff at this point. But I will say that, again, from a recruiting standpoint, which is the thing that matters most in the sport of college football, this is a staff that, as of right now today, as you and I talk, Rob, is set up to sign its, according to the recruiting rankings, its most talented recruiting class, I believe, in the last 12 or 13 years. And again, that takes you back to the Steve Spurrier area, which, everyone loves and adores here, right? So it's way too early, man. Again, it's looked bad. There's been a lot of questionable calls. I mean, I mean, the running Jordan Birch out there, man, and trying to throw that pass on a 1st and goal at the 1 it was to me one of the most crazy things I've ever seen in my life. When you got a chance, you run the ball, you get the ball down there via your run game, which has been sputtering the entire year. Your run game allows you to get to the 1 yard line, and instead of just hand the ball off to Kevin Harris or Marshawn Lloyd or Juju McDowell, you run this crazy predetermined play call. By the way, Shane told us after the game that the first time we got inside the 5 today, we were going to run this play, which I found absolutely crazy. But yeah, you run this play and it ends up being an interception, and I mean, it almost kind of makes you the laughing stock for the next 10 minutes in the world of college football, and it did. But so I get it. It's frustration, it's aggravation, it's so much of wanting to see immediate improvement on the field in results, things of that nature. But I think we've said all along that you get a new staff in, all this stuff takes time. So I would be cautious to give away your game tickets. Don't renew your season tickets if you're a season ticket holder. Not trying to be a spokesperson for the South Carolina football program, but come on, man, it's 6 games. Let's hold off a little bit before we start making make or break judgments here.
He is Corey Diaz. He is the beat reporter on the South Carolina Gamecocks football beat for the Greenville News, and joins us every Monday at 1:30 to talk football. Corey, my man, as always, good to talk to you, big dog. Appreciate it. We'll chat next week, and hopefully we'll be on a little bit better mood at that point.
Yeah, I think that's coming. I guess everyone involved needs a much brighter note and things to talk about next Monday. So let's do it.
Corey, if you do not use graham crackers, is it considered a s'more still?
Ooh, wait a minute. I thought a s'mores was chocolate, marshmallow, and graham crackers.
Okay,
so I don't really understand your question, but it sounds like maybe if it's just chocolate and marshmallow, that might just be like a candy bar or something.
All I needed to know. Corey Diaz, Greenville News. Appreciate you, big dog. We'll talk to you next week. Quick break. We're back after this on the Rob Brown Show. It's ESPN Upstate.
Moe's Catering will fill your fajita, taco, and nacho bars with fresh and flavorful ingredients. Like proteins grilled every hour, over 35 pounds of tomatoes that we dice every single morning before opening, and seasonal salsas and pico that are made in-house. We've got something for everyone, even your Uncle Bill. Just order at Moe's.com/catering. Welcome to Moe's.
Jay Farner here, CEO of Rocket Companies. If you thought you missed your chance to refinance and save, think again. Mortgage rates have recently dropped below 3%, and Rocket Mortgage can help you save big. You could lower your monthly payment and prepare yourself for a better financial future. But you've got to act now. Call us today at 8338-ROCKET or go to rocketmortgage.com.
Conditions apply. Equal housing lender license in all 50 states. NMLSConsumerAccess.org, number 33.
The model for world-class competition has always been faster, higher, stronger. It's the same for Navient, makers of condensing tankless water heaters. Faster to install and set up. Higher performance and efficiency to provide endless hot water. Stronger with the industry's strongest warranty. All because of the copper-free stainless steel heat exchanger built in every unit. Learn about Navient's condensing tankless water heaters and find a Navient contractor at tanklessmadesimple.com. That's tanklessmadesimple.com.
I'm Serena Williams. You watch me live on TV.
And I'm the girl from that alien movie you watch on demand. Our worlds have been brought together thanks to DirecTV Stream.
Why are you whispering?
Because the alien will hear us.
Maybe let the alien know you can get DirecTV Stream with no annual contract.
He seems pretty excited by that, actually.
Introducing DirecTV Stream, the best of live TV and on demand with no annual contract. Get your TV together at DirecTV.com.
Running a small business means just that, always running.
Ooh, you're not kidding.
Which is why this holiday, while the other guys, not mentioning any names, are keeping
So I think I'm going to spend the money and get the Avengers game. It looks like they've put out a ton of content for it.
You don't need to.
No?
It's on Game Pass.
Oh, is it on?
Yes. Came out on Game Pass last week. Hey, you're welcome. And generally, and I haven't looked, but since I did buy it, generally most DLC is included with Game Pass. So,
well, I mean, I want to play the base game before I decide if I would spend the money on the DLC.
Yeah, the base game is on Game Pass.
Okay.
See that was back and forth between you and I. That was small talk.
That was small talk. That was a conversation.
That was small talk.
Small talk is a conversation in which there is no inherent point other than to just fill a space. We had a conversation based on information that you had that I needed to know and now do know. Then I show my appreciation and then elevated it to the next round of sharing information. Small talk is a conversation that takes place with no intent on sharing information.
I'm looking at bowling thumb socks right now, so leave me alone.
All right, so how am I doing this? Am I just bringing this back for 30 seconds and taking another break?
We can go to about 52, 53. You're going to do it professionally. As if you were award-winning.
As if. Is emulating RVD over there?
There's the best, and then there's the rest. And I was,
Lonzo's the best. I am the rest.
No, I was collectively, you and I. That's what that was.
Milwaukee, Atlanta in game number 3 of the National League Divisional Series. The series is tied up at 1 apiece, and the score is tied up at 0-0. The Braves, with a massive mistake just a minute ago, cost themselves an opportunity with runners on first and third. A ball was played. Adam Duvall took off towards second and was easily gunned down at second for the third out of the bottom of the second inning. So now we enter the top of the third. Again, we are scoreless through 2 so far. Milwaukee at the plate right now, and that's going to be a third called strike. The ball was dropped, so over to Freddie Freeman to finish the out for the Braves. Ian Anderson is on the hill right now, already at 41 pitches through 2.1 innings so far. So not a he looks in control, but that's a lot of pitches for 2 innings.
If that bounce was 1 inch higher,
that's a problem.
Yes, that's a problem for the catcher.
Yeah.
And you can tell he thought about it afterwards.
Oh yeah. That's a mistake. Forgetting your cup as a catcher is a mistake you make one time. So Ian Anderson on the hill, 41 pitches through 2.1, no hits allowed so far, as we have 2 down in the top of the third. And playoff baseball in Atlanta, half the stadium's empty. But then again, Lonzo, it is a playoff game at 1 o'clock in the afternoon on a Monday. So
yeah,
kind of tough. Ian has now bumped 2 balls off the dirt in front of the plate. So, I said last week, game number 1, I said one of the biggest things that Brian Snicker has done all year long that kind of bothers me is Anderson has now bounced 3 balls off the dirt in front of the plate. This one a solid 2.5 feet in front of the dish. No control on the breaking ball for Ian Anderson right now. One of the biggest mistakes a manager can make is leaving his pitcher on the hill for 1 batter too many. And I think he did that with Fried last week, who gave up a dinger the very next batter after I said it. So I'm not saying Ian Anderson's there now, but 43 pitches through 2.1 and 3 balls in a row in the dirt as he hurls the first strike of the at-bat of Wong. Ian Anderson is going to try to get some going here. 0-0 Braves, top of the third. Braves Brewers, top of the third. We'll keep you up to date on this game as it plays out throughout the day. Strike 2 called, and we are back after this to wrap up hour number 2 on the Rob Brown Show on ESPN Upstate. You see? QC Kinetics is here for you. Here's the fact, man. They don't want you to have to go through life with pain, but more importantly, as importantly, the fear of pain can be just detrimental, right? Like, it's one thing to get up and your knee hurts a little bit. It's another thing to not be able to do the things that you want to do because it's going to make your knee hurt or your hips hurt or your lower back hurt or your shoulders hurt or your elbow hurt or your face, whatever. Any place you got a joint, you don't want to have to deal with not just the pain, but the fear of the pain. And that's why you need to call QC Kinetics at 864-448-3772, 864-448-3772. Mention the Rob Brown Show. Get that first consultation for free. They have a non-surgical regenerative therapy that will help you feel better, faster, and naturally without having to go and lay down on the operating table. Don't you want to be able to get rid of your pain without getting sliced and diced? Of course you do. Go to their website as well, QC Kinetics, QCKINETIX.com, QCkinetics.com. You can learn all about the science here from dozens and dozens of happy, satisfied QC Kinetics customers who will tell you that the therapy changed their life. Go to QCkinetics.com or call 864-448-3772. It's our friends at QC Kinetics.
Most of the time, this comes up when speaking about sports. But let's talk about your future wife. She is the GOAT in your eyes. And when it's time to make her your wife and tell her you truly love her, Skatels will be there to guide you through your ring buying journey. Free customization, financing, and a lifetime warranty are all part of the Skatels experience, one you truly will appreciate. Start your engagement ring journey at SkatelsJewelers.com.
Thanksgiving and Christmas, they're on the way and bringing friends and family with them. This is Don with American Made Windows, and now is the time to update and upgrade your home with our beautiful energy-efficient windows before the guests arrive. Nothing improves the look of your home like new windows, and ours are energy-efficient, affordable, and we do expert work quickly and cleanly. Visit amwupstate.com or call 334-6030. And remember, the best windows are American made.
Mad World Haunted Attraction is now open. Don't miss your chance to experience South Carolina's #1 haunted house, located in Piedmont off I-85 exit 35. Buy tickets now at madworldattractions.com. That's madworldattractions.com.
Diabetes, high blood pressure, anxiety meds, everyone's on them. If you're a 50-year-old male, maybe a bit porky, and you may even have type 2 diabetes, $1 million of term insurance may only cost you about $200 a month. Call Term Provider. Speak with Big Lou at 800-568-2790. Big Lou will find a term life policy for you even if you have type 2 diabetes, are overweight, or have high blood pressure. Term Provider has helped thousands of people like you who think they can't afford term life insurance. To buy $1 million of affordable term life for you, all you need to do is call Big Lou at 800-568-2790. Lou will make sure the scales are tipped in your favor.
I apologize for not talking to the stream, but I wouldn't want that to be considered small talk. Because I'm stubborn. But I will have some form of vengeance, you shall see. It will be clever. It will be underneath. But it will be worth it.
All right, Dansby, I need something big here, son. That is not it.
Call today and see how easy homeowners and renters insurance can be.
Hello, everybody, and welcome back to
Seeing something on Twitter. I'm sure you probably already saw it, but just in case.
What's that? Oh, you sent something. Okay.
Yes.
Even the food pyramid is shaped like a hot dog. Where every yard gained is a yard worth celebrating, and every celebration is.
I can't read Keegan's hieroglyphics.
Chipper!
I'm sure it means something.
It's an Auburn thing.
Okay.
Eagle, Tiger. Tiger, War Eagle.
Oh, I see the eagle now. Okay.
I think he was saying that when Corey said that Auburn's going to beat South Carolina.
Is that something you should be excited about?
Yo, I've been to probably 25, 30 Major League Baseball games in my life. Never had a home run or a foul ball in my section. Okay? Not caught one. Never had one in my section. Chipper Jones is at the Braves-Brewers game, A foul ball came directly to Chipper Jones, and the legend, the Hall of Famer, Lonzo, dropped the ball. Chipper freaking Larry Jones
It's the sun.
dropped the ball.
It was the sun. You could, I mean, if you watch the video again, there's it's obviously with the shadows and
It hit
things.
him in the hands, though.
Yeah, I know.
It hit him in the hands. I mean, he got both hands up. He's got it. It comes dirt, and he dropped the ball. Chipper.
He's older. I mean,
Chipper.
faculties don't work as well as they used to and stuff.
Chipper Jones is not drop a ball in the hand old, man. Chipper Jones is 49 years old. Chipper is too good to drop that ball. Andrew Jones was there too. Andrew Jones started laughing in his face. Which, yeah. I tell you, if you're ever with me at a baseball game and a foul ball or home run comes at me and I drop it, I expect to be ridiculed.
He made sure that everyone sitting there didn't get hit by that ball.
He dropped it. You know the best way to make sure nobody gets hit by the ball, Lonzo? Catch the ball. Catch it. Then nobody gets hit by it. Chipper, you let me down, man. I've been to 25, 30 games, have not been able to catch a home run. Chipper had the opportunity and just dropped it. Dansby Swanson down on strikes, 2 outs in the bottom of the third. We are scoreless between Atlanta and Milwaukee, and we are back for the third hour, including that Ray Sox controversy on the Rob Brown Show, ESPN Upstate.
Presents your ESPN Upstate Sports Center update powered by The Score. Clemson basketball recruiting picking up the verbal commitment from a 3-star 2022 shooting guard Chauncey Gibson. He comes from Dallas, Texas. His top 4 in addition to Clemson were Old Dominion, Texas Tech, and SMU. Clemson football day of the weekend off back at this Friday when they go to Syracuse. College football from over the weekend. South Carolina, they lose to Tennessee by a 45-20 score. They'll match up against Vanderbilt this Saturday in the Deep South's oldest football rivalry.
Bless you.
42-20. Coastal Carolina played last Thursday. Now they're back at it this Wednesday when they play at Appalachian State. Download the Score app today. Lightning fast sports alerts so you never miss a thing. It's why the Score app is one of North America's most popular sports apps. With your ESPN Upstate Sports Center update, I'm Matt Pauley.
Have you heard the Rob Brown Show?
An autographed picture of Shoeless Joe Jackson sold for almost $1.5 million, the most ever paid for a signed sports autograph. Shoeless Joe Jackson from right here in the GSP, but right downtown, you can find the Shoeless Joe Jackson Museum, and in there, you will find a young man by the name of Dan Wallach. He is the executive director of the museum. Because he was illiterate, he didn't really ever sign his name. His wife signed the majority of his autographs. You guys any question marks about this?
Oh, there's no question mark. That picture is not signed by Joe Jackson. There are Joe actually signing his name. They were all on legal documents.
I find that quite frightening.
I think it's hysterical.
The signature that's on the photo that sold last night is nothing like those signatures.
Catch the Rob Brown Show weekdays noon to 3 on ESPN Upstate.
Kevin Harlan from Monday Night Football on Westwood One with a preview to wrap up Week 5. Lamar Jackson and the Baltimore Ravens are 3-1, and they've won 3 in a row. Now they play host to Carson Wentz and the Indianapolis Colts, who picked up their first win of the season last Sunday. Can the Colts break the Ravens streak? Join me, Ron Jaworski, and Rich Eisen to find out on Monday Night Football.
Tonight at 7:30, the NFL plays here on ESPN Upstate. Expected that
For an official round. Locally for the
Dexter says, why are you yelling a lot today, Rob? Yeah, today. I only am yelling a lot today, Lonzo.
You know what? Compared to most days, you're not yelling nearly as
It's relatively quiet.
But they are. That makes them stand out more so than just constant stream of yelling through the entire show.
There have been moments of high intensity. I'll put it this way.
Points of emphasis.
If there was an odometer on Lonzo's slider from the amount of times he has to go up and down when I launch, the blue book, what is it, Kelly? Blue book value on that slider would be way down. All right. That's all I'm saying.
I'm starting to get some carpal tunnel.
Texas says, I've been over to 150 ball games and caught my first foul ball at the drive game this spring. I one-handed with my daughter in my lap. Bravo. That's how it should be done. All right. Grown men, do not bring your glove to the ballpark. Okay. You're not a child. Don't bring your glove to the ballpark. If a ball comes your direction.
So at what age do you, so as soon as you hit 18, you can't do it?
When you're done playing baseball.
Okay.
When you're done playing baseball.
So if you're still playing baseball.
Yeah, like if you're like a 16-year-old kid still playing senior ball, I'm not going to judge you for that.
So let's say you're a minor league player and you just happen to be at a major league park. You just there to, yeah, but you just said
when you stop playing recreational baseball, if you are getting paid to
is
play
high school baseball
high schoolers don't care. High schoolers bring a glove. That's fine.
Okay. So I'm
high school players bring a glove. That's fine. If you are not playing recreational baseball in your spare time, and even if you are, if you're a man, all right, unless you were, because if you're playing like in a men's summer league, you're still playing recreational ball. Let me rephrase that.
Which you should. There's nothing wrong with that. Stay active.
No. I'm looking for a recreational men's league to get involved in. In fact, I was talking to a lady friend last night. We were watching the Red Sox Rays game. And after like the third time that she was like, I love baseball pants. I was like, God, I got to start playing baseball again. I guess I got to get back into baseball. I am looking for a men's league to play in. Right? You saw my first pitch, Lonzo. Tell me I can still do it.
By the way, it was magnificent. And if you keep the confidence that you had with that pitch, you'll go far, kid.
Yeah. I'm like the natural. Like the rookie. All right? I'm just saying. I still got it. I can still throw 3-4 solid. All right? I'm looking for a men's league to play in. But if you are paying to play baseball, don't bring your glove to the park. All right? You man up and you catch this thing. If that ball's coming at you, you stick that hand up and you catch the rock. Chipper Jones. All right? You catch the rock, Chipper. And if you don't catch the rock, here's the other rule. This is the rule of the park, Zoe. If you catch the ball out of the air, not on the hop, if you catch the ball, it goes bat, air, your hand, and you catch it, that is your baseball. All right? That is your baseball. But if it hits the hand and you drop it and then pick it up, that ball belongs to the kid around you. All right? I do not think anybody should be obligated to give their home run or foul ball to a kid. All right? I am saying that if you drop the ball, then you have to give it up to a kid. If you catch it, it's your ball. You earned it. Because, Lonzo, I've caught a fast-moving baseball without a glove. It stings, Jack. It stings. You've earned it. But if you don't catch it, you have given up the right to the ball. Is all I'm saying. Hey, speaking of how it works out, let's go to last night's Rays-Red Sox game. Because it got dicey. I'm going to go to, if you don't mind, clip number 1, Lonzo. Every time I got a call for a clip, it was always right when Lonzo starts typing something out important. Every time.
No, there's a pattern of when that you're actually going to play clips, and so I try, because I know it's coming, to see if I can. I'm just posting the podcast. I'm trying to get it done before, and it's fine. You know, sometimes I succeed, sometimes I don't. Today, I did not succeed, but there's always tomorrow.
It's a new day. Yes, it is. By the way, I don't know. You didn't watch the fight. Did you happen to see Tyson Fury's intro clip?
I did not.
Big E did it.
Really?
Big E did it. I got hype. No joke.
I got to look that up now.
I got hype. Big E did Tyson Fury's intro clip, and it was dope, dude. It was cool. Last night, it is Red Sox. It is Rays. Kevin Kiermaier is at the dish for the Rays. The Rays have man on first. Kiermaier hits a long shot out to right center field. Comes up short of the fence, and this happens.
Diaz runs. Kiermaier sends a ball into right center field. That's trouble. And that one's off the base of the wall. Diaz coming around to score. Kiermaier to third. The Rays have taken the lead.
I'm saying that's going to be a double. That is a horrible break. And the runner was going. I was just saying that the runner going allows them to score on a double. I think they might.
They're going to take a look.
That hit the top of the wall and go over?
They're not only going to look at that. Isn't it umpire's discretion as to where to place the base runner?
I'm going to get another look at what that ball hit. But starting the runner was the only chance you were going to score playing no doubles. This ball hits. Wow, that was a ton of spin. It hits before the wall, down, and hits the right fielder and goes over the wall.
So the ball hits the wall, backspins off the wall into the dirt, or into the turf, hits the right fielder in the chest as he's trying to play it off the wall, hits the right fielder on the chest, then rebounds and bounces over the wall into the away team bullpen. Runners are confused. The runner on first, I think it was a Rosarina, goes all the way around to the dish, and Kiermaier makes it to second on what would have been a double. Well, people got furious because after reviewing it, the ball hits the wall, the ground, the right fielder, and then ends up bouncing out over the right field wall. After the play is over, the umpires have a big discussion out at center field. And what they decide is this is a ground rule double. Okay? It's ground rule double. If the ball lands in play, and then traditionally, if the ball lands in play and then bounces into an out of play and inaccessible position, then the base runners are awarded 2 bases from the base that they were on when the hit took place. So Rosarina on first was moved to third. Kevin Kiermaier was moved from home plate to second, 2 bases apiece. But had that ball not gone over the wall, not gone into the bullpen, then Rosarina would have scored. It would have been at this point in the, by the way, 13th inning of the game. It would have been, 5-4 Rays, with a runner on second in scoring position, coming into a good hitting part of the lineup for the Rays. Middle lineup wasn't so good. Bottom of the lineup was where the action was coming from for Tampa, and that's where they were heading. Well, after a lot of controversy last night, let me go to clip number 1C, if you don't mind. This is Greg Asminger from MLB Network, because MLB Network spent a chunk of time on this call last night. Here is Asminger reading the rule as it stands.
I want to read you the rule. Matt Vasgersian Johnson was kind of read it on the air. I want you to follow along. Rule 5.0588. Any bounding fair ball is deflected by the fielder into the stands or over or under a fence on fair or foul territory, in which case the batter and all runners shall be entitled to advance 2 bases.
So now, I want to do this one for you, Greg.
Real quick, fans have asked. There are a bunch of people going, wait a minute. He was already at second base by the time the batter made contact, Kiermaier. He's at third base by the time. It's where he started on the play, which I think is frustrating. That's frustrating for Tampa. That's frustrating for Ray fans.
So the rule is, according to the MLB Network last night, the rule is if a bounding ball, okay, because somebody brought up, I don't know, you ever seen the clip, Lonzo, of Jose Canseco fielding and the ball hits him on the top of the head and bounces out?
Yes, I have.
That is a home run because the ball has not contacted the field of play. If a bounding, underlined, highlight, italicized, if a bounding ball is played off of a player and ends up somewhere inaccessible on the field, then the base runners and the batter are awarded 2 bases from where they started on the field. So a Rosarina, based on the rule, and I will give, as much as I hate to do this, I will give the umpire credit because the umpire responded correctly to the rule itself. The rule is a bounding ball, which it was. The wall has the same properties as the field, right? This is somebody asked me at some point when I was up in Boston, if a ball hits the green monster and is caught in the air by an outfielder, is a player out? No, that player is not out. That is the same as catching the ball off the grass, right? It hits something in the play, therefore the ball is grounded. It now is considered a bounding ball. If a bounding ball is contacted by a player and ends up in a position on the field that is inaccessible, then the batter and the base runners will be awarded 2 bases from where they started when the play happened. So Rosarina goes first to third. Kiermaier goes from home to second. But here was the problem. The problem was if that ball does not bounce off of, was it Martinez? Who was playing right? Whoever's playing right field last night. That ball doesn't bounce off of him and go over the wall. Rosarina definitely scores because he ran on the pitch. And the argument that Boston fans were making last night was by the time that Kiermaier swung the baseball bat, Rosarina was already on second and rounding to third when the ball was contacted. Therefore, at the point of contact, Randy Rosarina was on second and should have been given his 2 bases starting at second, meaning he should have gone second to third, third to home, and been counted as a run, which he obviously was not. So, little controversy there. And here's why this is interesting, right? Here's why this is interesting. Let's say we got a similar situation in, I'm just going to use the game that's on TV right now, Braves Brewers. The Brewers have a runner on first. If they hit a ball out into center field, and let's say the center fielder at this point, the ball hits the turf as Ian Anderson has escaped a jam. The Brewers had a runner on second with Ian Anderson with 1 out, and then he struck a pair out. So the Braves will now move to the bottom of the 4th and go to the dish, still squared at 0-0. If the Brewers have a runner on first and they hit a deep fly ball to center that hits the ground, if I am the center fielder, Lonzo, and I, accidentally kicked the ball in a way that it escapes the field of play, by definition, if I can make it look as an accident, because this is different if the player intentionally deposits the ball out of play. I'm going to use a different stadium for the sake of an easy illustration. Wrigley Field. It is late September. Do you remember? The 21st day of September? Late September. The ivy on the fence at Wrigley Field has grown in and it is thick. The Cardinals have a runner on first. A Cubs pitcher throws the ball. Because there are 2 outs and a 2-3 count, the runner at first goes on the pitch. That's baseball, right? 2-3 count, 2 outs, you go. Because no matter what happens, you're moving to second or the inning's over. So he takes off. By the time the batter swings the bat, the runner from first is already at second. Okay? The Cardinal player hits the ball into deep center field. The runner on second, who started the play on first, is now rounding third as the ball hits the ivy. Lonzo, if I am smart, paying attention, and calculated as the center fielder, I'm going to pretend to pick up the ball, but I'm going to accidentally kick it into the ivy, which is a ground rule double in Chicago. If the ball goes into the ivy and the player calls that he can't retrieve the ball, it's a ground rule double. I have now just stopped the Cardinals from scoring a run by kicking the ball into an inaccessible part of the field. If I'm really talented and there's a fair ball line drive down the third baseline and I'm the left fielder and I know that there's going to be a guy that scores because it goes all the way to the fence, if I am talented enough and I can Pele it, I'm just going to kick the ball up over the stands on the third baseline, kick it into the crowd. Boom, ground rule double. Runner on first, now he can't score. He's got to stop at third with his two bases. The problem is the rule is written, I think, Lonzo, as well as it can be written. It is up to the discretion of the umpire at that point how they want to move the ball around, how they want to move the runners around.
All those things you said you would do if you were capable. Have you ever seen that done before?
No, and here's why. I have not. And here's why. Because, Lonzo, I don't know that I have ever seen this rule challenged the way that this rule was challenged last night in the Rays Sox game. Been watching baseball a long time. I don't think I have ever seen this rule have to be put into, not just put into effect, but put into effect in a way that was so controversial, right? That's a controversial call because if that player, if the ball doesn't hit, yeah, thank you, Panda. Panda's right. It was Hunter Renfroe in right field. That's exactly right. If that ball doesn't bounce off of Hunter Renfroe's chest and go out of bounds, Arozarena scores and Kiermaier's on second. But it did. Theoretically, if you are Hunter Renfroe and you know that situation and you see that ball bound off the fence and off the ground the way that it does, theoretically speaking, in the future, especially because there's a lot of stadiums that don't have low walls in the outfield, this wouldn't be possible. But the Red Sox, you want to hear a cool fact about Fenway I learned? So if you go to Fenway, though, and this plays into the story. If you go to Fenway, the two bullpens are the right field wall. And I wonder, that's a weird place in a ballpark. The reason, though, that the bullpens are on the right field wall is because when they built Fenway, the right field wall was where the crowd sits. Ted Williams, during his career in Boston, had a habit of pushing the ball out into deep right, but he did not have the power to reach the right field wall for home runs. So the Red Sox, though, built the bullpen so that they could shorten up right field by about 15 feet. So the bullpen dugout sits under the wall where the fans are, but the actual pitching surface where the players pitch, warm up, stretches out. They did that to shorten right field by about 15 feet so that Ted Williams could hit home runs into the bullpen during his career. Well, because it's the bullpen, they have a short fence. It's about a waist-high fence out in right field. So this is not going to happen very often, but it could happen again in Fenway. So if you're Hunter Renfroe and you get a ball that bounces off the wall back towards you from this point forward, don't you kind of fake trying to catch the ball and just knock it over the fence? If there's a runner on first or second, well, a runner on first, it wouldn't matter if he was on second. But if there's a runner on first, I'm now telling my right fielder, hey, if the ball hits the fence or close to it, I want you to accidentally scoop it up over the wall. They can't score a run there. I think this rule's never been challenged because the majority of outfield fences aren't waist high. This is one of a very, very small number of fences in Major League Baseball that aren't 10 foot or better, right? One of a very small number of fences that aren't 10 feet or better. This can't happen at most ballparks. But it did at Fenway. It cost the Rays a run. It cost the Rays a runner in scoring position with 2 outs left to go. They would end up getting the next out. And then a home run would end it from Christian Vasquez in the bottom of the 13th inning. People were mad, but the refs, Lonzo, I love dumping on an umpire. I love beating up on a Major League Baseball umpire.
Human ones.
Absolutely. But I will give them credit. They interpreted that rule the correct way. Now the question is going to be, how does Major League Baseball respond to that? I'm very, very curious. All right, 844-GSP-ESPN, 844-477-3776. Text us on the Ingles Market text line at 71307, 71307. Let's take a break. We'll come back here in just a minute on the Rob Brown Show. Rob Lonzo, you! It's ESPN.
Only 8 drivers are still alive for a Cup Series championship after Sunday's NASCAR Cup Series race at the Charlotte Motor Speedway road course. Kyle Larson picks up the win. He is followed by Tyler Reddick, Chris Buescher, Kyle Busch, Denny Hamlin rounding out the top 5. Chase Elliott won the first stage while Kyle Busch wins the second stage. So the 4 drivers who are eliminated from playoff contention, Kevin Harvick, Christopher Bell, William Byron, and Alex Bowman. The 8 drivers who are still alive, Kyle Larson, Denny Hamlin, Martin Truex Jr., Ryan Blaney, Kyle Busch, Chase Elliott, Joey Logano, and Brad Keselowski. They will run at Texas this upcoming Sunday. Download the Score app today. Lightning fast sports alerts so you never miss a thing. It's why the Score app is one of North America's most popular sports apps. With your ESPN Upstate Sports Center update, I'm Matt Pauley.
High school football fans, I'm Cole Bryson. Get the scores, discussion, interviews, and more on the Saturday Morning Scramble powered by Founders Federal Credit Union. Every Saturday from 8 to 10 a.m. There's the snap. It's reverse. Wade Meadows, right side. Touchdown. Wade Meadows. It is a one-score game.
The Saturday Morning Scramble. ESPN everywhere. On the Odyssey. The Saturday Morning Scramble.
At Fisher Investments outside. Your clients know that because we're there for our clients, always with their interests. We know how important that responsibility.
The Rock is tweeting that his song is #1
His song
on the
he spit bars.
iTunes charts.
He spit bars. I was impressed.
Now, if he wanted to impress me, he would have been as fast as the other two dudes.
Ain't
on
nobody as fast as the other two dudes.
Those guys are so fast. To the point where you're like, did they speed that up? They had to speed that up, but I don't think they did.
Remember when we started talking about it on air, we had that guy rap back that was like, it's going to blow your mind how fast he raps. Also, that hurt. My dude ran nose first into the wall. Watch this. Absolute stroke of the baseball. Boom! And he dropped it. That's a triple.
He pulled a bump.
Yeah, that didn't feel good at all.
Hey, well, what was in the natural when that guy's named the bump?
Yeah.
The guy who ran through the wall and died. Yeah. Except he survived thanks to there being fence there. You could see him bounce off the fence.
Yeah. I don't know. I don't know that I wouldn't rather have the padded wall. Chain link does not feel good. He just Hell in a Cell'd himself.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking.
There's never been a better time to switch to Spectrum Mobile.
Oh, they just played at full speed. Okay.
Yeah, he went fast. He was hauling. He's still down.
Try the Spectrum Mobile savings calculator today, and in 3 easy steps, you'll see how much you could save by switching. Visit spectrummobile.com/save. Spectrum internet required. Savings may vary. Restrictions apply. Visit spectrummobile.com/save for details.
Enjoy the sounds of summer.
Apparently, Cowboy Mouth played Fall for Greenville a few years back. I would kill to have them back. I would not kill to have them back. It's dramatic.
Yeah, you don't want to do that.
It's dramatic.
It's just an expression. It is really cool how they have the stages set in such a way where, although I haven't been on the stages, so I don't know for sure, but how the sound of another band wouldn't affect you while you're on the stage. And echoing down there could be a problem.
Dude, those stages, though, were blocks of, like, the one stage was past Falls Park, another block. Then there was one on the corner of Broad and Main Street, and then the other one was at the far end of Main Street. I bet you couldn't even hear them. I was blown away by how big it was. I thought it was going to be like a couple of blocks right in the main downtown.
See, I'm just wondering if you had the normal amount of people down there with the rain, because usually you can't walk.
Dude, by the time I got there Friday, it was beautiful downtown.
Was it?
Blue skies, beautiful by the time.
Good thing to move those football games.
Yeah, right. It was beautiful downtown. What was interesting, well, to me, was I had never seen the Reedy that high. Like the Reedy Falls, the rocks were completely covered, which I'd never seen. Usually when I go down there, you can walk out onto the rocks into the river. You couldn't see them.
You know, I know about high water. You got that walk to look forward to when I get back home. Not really that bad, except at night. Because there are things, man, there are sounds I've never heard before in my entire life. It's freaky.
All right, it is ESPN Upstate right here on the Rob Brown Show. Thanks so much for joining us to hang out with us. Talking about the Deontay Wilder-Tyson Fury fight. Just spend another couple of minutes breaking that down before we take a break. We'll talk some football on the other side before we wrap it up with Twitter. Also going to talk soccer tomorrow on the show. Team USA, 13 consecutive game unbeaten streak. Lost last night after a 1-0 L down in Panama. And I am right back to being unhappy with Greg Berhalter. Right back to being unhappy with Greg Berhalter. We're going to break that down tomorrow. I got a lot of other stuff I wanted to get into on the show today. So I kind of pushed American soccer back to Tuesday's show. So we'll get into that tomorrow. Deontay Wilder and Tyson Fury. Look, I think, frankly, Lonzo, Deontay Wilder came in with exactly the game plan that I thought he would, which is he opened with a ton of body shots, right? Because Tyson Fury keeps his hands up, which is what you're supposed to do. But when you've got his, like, because one thing I noticed, Tyson Fury is a long human being. You know what I mean?
Especially from the waist, his torso is just
huge.
It is. It definitely is.
He's a long human being.
Plus, he's like 6'9" or something like that.
He's a big, and Fury's a big guy. I mean, Wilder's a big guy too, but Tyson Fury's all torso. Like he's all torso. Well, when he keeps his hands up, there's a little bit of room between his elbow and his trunks. And I said last week during Fight Club when we broke this fight down, what did I think Deontay Wilder needed to do? Body shot, body shot, body shot, body shot, body shot, body shot. Get to where Fury's dropping those hands down. Then if you can get him on the ropes, you come with a big overhand right because Deontay Wilder, on a normal human being, has knockout power. Problem, and Deontay Wilder learned this about round 6, that Tyson Fury is not a normal human being. Tyson Fury, Lonzo, I knew my dude had a good chin, but as Jim Ross would say, by God, he took combination punches from Wilder. He took flurries from Wilder, and he took about 4 or 5 power shots from Deontay Wilder right on the chin.
It's like what you would see in a fighting movie, in a Rocky movie or something, and you know most people just don't get back up.
Yep. Dude has an iron jaw. I was blown away. Here's the thing. If Deontay Wilder, Lonzo, lands the power punches on Anthony Joshua he put on Tyson Fury, he wins the fight. If he lands the power punches on Alexander Usyk that he put on Tyson Fury, he wins the fight. If he puts those punches on the chin of, and I believe this, 99.2% of the population of planet Earth, he wins the fight. But Tyson Fury...
That's a pretty specific number there.
Well, I didn't want to say 99.9 because you get the freaks like Kimbo Slice every now and then, right? Who in his fighting on YouTube days would take hella punches and not go down. Tyson Fury is just, I don't know, the nerves in his head ain't wired like a normal person, so he can take those shots. He took 8th, 9th round, end of the round. He took a flurry of combination punches from Deontay where he got popped 2-3 times and then took a power shot. And he stumbled. He went down twice. He stumbled, but he never, both times he went down, it wasn't like, oh, he's down and he's going to have a hard time coming up. He went down, he took his 4 or 5 seconds to catch his breath, and he came right back up. Again, I think the first knockdown, which is the one where he went face first down into the corner, I don't think that was a knockdown via punches. I think Tyson Fury was leaning on Deontay Wilder, which is a strategy specifically in the heavyweight division. I think Tyson Fury was leaning on Deontay. I think Deontay felt him leaning and just kind of quick step to the left and put his hand on the back of Fury and threw him to the canvas. Why? Because it worked. Scored as a knockdown. But when it came down to it, Tyson Fury was just too much for Deontay Wilder to put down. And again, I kind of feel bad for Deontay Wilder, Zoe, because Deontay Wilder is the second best heavyweight on the planet. If Deontay Wilder fought in almost any other era, I would put Deontay up legit in the days of like Evander Holyfield at his heavyweight spot. He had that kind of power. But Tyson Fury is the best on the planet right now. If Tyson Fury did not exist, Deontay Wilder would be the guy that has his face slapped on the side of every arena in Las Vegas. But he came up at a bad time. He came up in the era of Tyson Fury. And that dude is just on a different level right now. Just on a different level right now. I don't know. The Tyson Fury is something else. Deontay Wilder, I feel bad for the guy because he'd go down in history if there was anybody but Tyson Fury standing across from him.
This is one of those times where you have to start, you don't have to, but it's fun to speculate. What would Mike Tyson in his prime do against Tyson Fury in his prime?
Be a monster fight. So here's the thing. I genuinely don't know. Mike Tyson was an absolute monster because he had speed and power. But here's the thing.
He definitely wouldn't have had reach.
Absolutely would not have had reach. I don't think the majority of the great heavyweights would have had reach on Tyson Fury. But he had speed and he had power. Here's the thing. Deontay Wilder is one of the most powerful punchers in the game right now. He stumbled Fury 4 or 5 times. He put Fury down twice. What happened? Didn't matter. I don't know that. And again, I hesitate, Lonzo, because I don't want to get caught in recency bias, right? Because we just saw Tyson Fury fight and how good of a fight it was. I don't want a knee-jerk reaction and say, oh, he's just so great, right? I don't want to be recency bias the situation. But I'm absolutely going to say, I don't know if Mike Tyson could straight knock out Tyson Fury. Deontay Wilder couldn't do it. Probably should have. Again, 99% of fighters up against Deontay in that fight Saturday night, they eat canvas. Fury did it twice, got back up both times, and came back stronger. And the longer that fight went, you could see that there was a point about the 6th round where you saw the punches of Deontay Wilder start getting slower and slower. 10th round, Deontay looked like he was punching through water. You ever tried to do anything underwater? Like when you were a kid, you ever tried to like do cool karate moves while you were in the pool? Kicking off the wall and stuff like Bruce Lee? You know how you can do that because it's so slow and controlled? That's what Wilder looked like he was doing. Looked like he was punching through water. Tyson Fury never slowed down. Never slowed down. Man has incredible stamina. If you didn't watch that fight, go back and watch it. Even knowing who wins, it's worth the watch. Worth the watch. Let's take a break. Come back here in just a minute. We'll break down a little bit more South Carolina, Tennessee. Twitter Trending Topics wraps us up. It's only Monday, y'all. We got 5 days of excellence, including the rest of today, right here on the Rob Brown Show on ESPN Upstate. Texas says, question, what about Tyson Fury versus Coach Ditka?
Adam also reports Chiefs running back Clyde Edwards-Helaire could be out a few weeks with a sprained left knee. Our Adrian Wojnarowski reports the 76ers could have point guard Ben Simmons back with the team sometime this week. Simmons did not report after repeating his wish to be traded and saying he'd never play with the team again. In the baseball playoffs today, right now on other ESPN radio outlets, Game 3 in Atlanta, the Brewers and Braves are...
The Brewers...
See, it's a B word.
Anderson, your pickoff move is so slow. Golly. Oh, you know what I just realized? We should probably put the logo. It's too late now, but we should probably put the logo up if we're watching a live game. Remember those times we got flagged? I think it was because we had live games on TV. It was during the Olympics. Oh, we might be okay because that's NBC and they're pretty harsh about it.
Well,
we'll find out if this one gets flagged.
We've been fine with ESPN back there because because we're ESPN.
Yeah.
I think they look at it and go, yeah, this is the ESPN station, and the ESPN logo is on our logos and everything. So,
but this is TBS, not ESPN.
You're right. And now that you pointed it out,
they're listening.
Yes. Oh, he's on the phone.
Yeah, getting the bullpen warmed. 60 pitches through 5 innings is a lot of pitches.
Uh-oh. It bounced. No one caught it.
Mr. Clean, Mr. Clean.
So Far Cry 6 been pretty good so far.
Yeah.
Yeah. Had a couple glitches, but it was fast traveling glitches. We ended up in the ocean and could not swim to the surface.
Okay. Ended up in the ocean, like glitched in the ocean, or like
Cameron. So I'm playing on his game. So the host is in charge of fast traveling somewhere.
Okay.
He fast traveled a couple times. Somehow we ended up under the ocean, under the island that we were on, and could not get up. He's like, no, and we're starting to die. So he fast traveled again. It took like 4 times, and finally we ended up on the surface somewhere. If you die, you just show back up right where you were, but still, it's like, okay.
Oh, there's no penalty for dying.
No, there's not.
Paramount Plus has rebooted Nickelodeon's Are You Afraid of the Dark? Did you ever watch that show? It was scary movies for kids. It was genuinely good.
Is it like R.L. Stein type stuff, or
kinda? So the premise of the story was, the premise of the show was a bunch of teenage kids sitting around a campfire telling ghost stories, but the ghost stories they acted out the ghost stories as a show.
Get that satisfying crunch. Now with 20% more honey. Try a delicious Nature Valley Oats and Honey Crunchy Bar with more of the honey you love.
5G is here, but the big carriers want you to sign a pricey long-term contract and get in on the action. Well, no more, because Straight Talk Wireless has rolled out 5G coverage nationwide, with plans starting at just $35 a month with no contract. And get a Samsung Galaxy A32 5G for only $299, all on America's best networks. 5G coverage, 5G phones, less money.
Also found out that you can take out the horse of your partner while they're riding. He was not really happy about that.
You're going around committing equinocide to frustrate your own son.
You don't know until you try. And he's also recording it to be using on the video too. So I'm going to do something stupid. He got me back though. I got cornered by the water, and the horse wouldn't go in the water.
So Dexter says, ESPN question. What about Tyson Fury versus Coach Ditka? Oh, that's a tough question there, Bob. What if the Hurricane's name was Hurricane Ditka? Oh, tough question there, Bob.
I can't do it justice. You're just too good at it. So I refuse to participate.
Why am I so good at dumb things? I'd like to be good at something important one day. I'll figure it out. I'm good at making s'mores. I'm good at impersonating the super fans. One day I'll figure out how to be good at something else.
Doing all right on this
the radio thing.
Yeah, award winning.
It's going all right. Rob and Lonzo here on the Rob Brown Show at ESPN Upstate. Look, South Carolina. I don't know, man. Has the goodwill earned up by Coach Beamer worn off, Lonzo? You know, he shows up. He says all the right things. He does all the right things. He hangs the banner outside the stadium. Everybody's in love with it. I saw people lining up to take pictures with that banner. There was a lot of goodwill about Shane Beamer when he showed up. Has the goodwill been worn off after getting thumped by Tennessee this weekend?
I think there's some frustration, but there's going to be frustration with any loss. And I think if you expected a whole lot the first year he was there, that's far-reaching and unrealistic. So, no, I don't believe it's worn off. 2 years from now, if they're in the same position, that's a totally different story. He's like a couple months in, man. I know we want things fixed and we want it fixed now. Muschamp messed things up pretty bad. As Corey Diaz was pointing out earlier, what was left for Beamer as compared to what was left for the Tennessee coach, two totally different things. It is going to take a while to win. I mean, they've won some games already, but it's going to take a while once they start winning those close games that they should win, or start winning games that they're supposed to win. Were they supposed to beat Tennessee?
I'm relatively sure it
was. I'm sometimes, and I believe they could beat Tennessee because I think it's funny that Tennessee's always on the comeback and never gets there, but they look pretty good Saturday. Did they look good because they were playing the Gamecocks, or did they look good because they're improving? I don't know. I won't watch another Tennessee game till next year, probably.
I think Tennessee is okay. All right. And by the way, Tennessee, I saw it this morning, it came up from the Twitter feed. Tennessee, Lonzo, in first quarters of games is like 106-8 on the scoreboard. I say that's pretty good. I don't care if you're playing all FCS schools. 108-6 in the first quarter, pretty solid.
I'd take that.
Here's what I don't love. I don't love South Carolina being down 35-0 before they hit the scoreboard. And I don't care who you're playing. I don't care if you're playing Alabama. Sorry, Texas A&M. I don't care if you're playing Texas A&M. You can't go down 35-0. All right? In conference on the road, you can't go down 35-0. And as Corey Diaz earlier, I don't know. I don't know if you caught this, though. This kind of blew me away a little bit. Did you hear Corey say that Shane Beamer said the play that they ran after a 74-yard opening drive? He said the play that they had already scripted a play that if they got inside the 5-yard line for the first time, they were running that play no matter what. Problem was that play ran perfectly into Tennessee's defense. It was exactly into the teeth of what Tennessee was doing defensively. I understand wanting to have a script. I understand having a set idea of what you want to accomplish. Alonzo, if you're a coach, you got to be able to come off script and make adjustments on the fly. That was a bad coaching decision, and it cost them an early touchdown. And I'm not saying that touchdown changes the game.
But
hell yeah, it did.
And momentum has a lot to do with it. I mean, what would they have won? I don't know, but they definitely would have been more competitive if they would have scored that touchdown.
7-7 is a world different, or hell, 7-7 is a world different than 14-0, isn't it? I mean, a world different than 14-0.
Because also then, when you're unscripted after that point, you have to change how you're coaching because you're coming from behind 2 touchdowns as opposed to being tied and basically being 0-0.
100%. It was not good. It just was not good. You can't do that. And that's what I'm talking about, right? That's what I'm talking about. Coach Beamer saying and doing all the right things. But he's not coaching what I need to see change. I'm not seeing the improvement. The offensive line was still bad. The wide receivers aren't fighting. And those are problems. Remember the first 3 games, what I loved about South Carolina is even when the game was ugly, they scratched and clawed. And then after the Georgia L, I just haven't seen it. Or maybe I'm just pessimistic. Maybe I've lost the initial optimism, but that's kind of the point in it. Now, that being said,
true test is this Saturday.
Big test this Saturday.
Yep.
The question here that I would have is, are the mistakes being cleaned up? And I would say the answer to that is no. Right? No. Say and do all the right things. Now, remember, it is his first year. And as Lonzo pointed out, Muschamp lit the house on fire before he left. All right? And Muschamp ran a very different ship than Shane Beamer does. Shane Beamer is trying to run a ship with Muschamp's crew. Doesn't always work.
And how this goes, I mean, how college football goes is we need to see what his first full year of recruiting with an entire year behind him, what kind of players he brings in and what that does for the program.
Because keep in mind, not only did Beamer show up late into the cycle, but on top of that, it was still a COVID restriction year when he showed up, which meant he could not do the things that coaches can do most off seasons. Now he gets a full off season to do that. Now he gets a full off season and to bring in his guys for his system, not try to force his system on Will Muschamp's guys. It's a big difference. Texas says a good coaching staff can look competitive in a loss, not so much with Beamer. What happened to all his top assistants and coordinators he claims were knocking at the door when he was hired? I don't know that that's not still there, right? I don't know that it's not still there. And I don't even know that. I mean, Carolina they were trying to punch at the end. They just were out of gas.
I'm trying to think of a good analogy. And all I can think of is if you have leaky pipes, you come in and you got tape and you patch things up as best you can till you can replace the pipes with good pipes.
Yeah.
I mean, so until next season, when he can start bringing his guys in, he has to do the most he can with what he has. There are some coaches who come in and are phenomenal with what's left behind for them. And then there's others, they need to work on it, especially this being his first time being a head coach.
844-477-3776, 844-GSP, ESPN, Twitter Trending Topics wraps it up when we come back. Rob Alonzo, it's ESPN Upstate.
In real time, the ESPN Upstate score stream at ESPNUpstate.com. Set up a profile, create your feed, and follow your favorite teams. Know when the big plays happen and when the games go viral. The ESPN Upstate Score Stream. Get all the high school football scores in one place at ESPNUpstate.com.
Don't go through the follow months with joint pain. Call QC Kinetics now. Regenerative solutions are here, bringing lasting relief from joint pain with no downtime, no surgery, no steroids. QC Kinetics uses natural biologic therapies that restore and repair damaged tissue in your knees, shoulders, hips, and back. Patients here are raving about the results. Listen, you don't have to live with that chronic pain, and don't think surgery is your only option. Call QC Kinetics now. Learn about these exciting natural alternatives. Hey, you've heard football legend Emmitt Smith talk about QC. It's time to see what this is all about. Fall is the time to enjoy life to the fullest. Act now. Restorative, regenerative therapies are available here. And the in-office consultation is free. Call QC Kinetics at 864-448-3772. Non-surgical joint pain relief. 864-448-3772. 864-448-3772. That's 448-3772.
Hey, it's ESPN Upstate's Mark Ryan. Join me at Ingles Markets this and every Thursday from 3 to 7 with a special live edition of Offsides with Mark Ryan. This Thursday will be at 2150 East Main Street in Duncan. Brought to you by Ingles Markets on ESPN Upstate.
We're planning a trip to Spain later this year.
But our Spanish
is pretty bad.
When you learn a language, you want to actually use it. Babbel is designed with that goal in mind. Babbel's conversation-based method teaches you real-life words and phrases. And with Babbel's interactive, bite-sized lessons, you'll remember what you learned.
¿Cómo te llamas?
¿Cómo te llamas?
¿De dónde eres?
¿De dónde eres? No matter your learning style or experience level, Babbel has lessons designed for you that will get you speaking quickly and confidently. I tried learning Spanish before, but I couldn't stick with it until I found Babbel.
There's no easier way to learn another language.
Ahora hablamos español.
Where'd you end up parking when you went down for Fall for Greenville?
Broad Main, about 2 blocks away from Main Street. I got lucky. I turned the corner and there was a guy that just happened to be pulling out of a spot. If I wouldn't have found that, because there were people, I saw a couple of people that were like circling a minute, and I just got lucky and pulled in. I kind of felt bad because there was a guy I'd been following in circles. I had to circle the block like twice. And when I pulled up the second time, he drove past the guy, and then the guy pulled out, and I pulled in, and I could just see that guy had to be furious.
Oh, was that a hit?
Build your winning team today. Go to
That was a hit.
LinkedIn.com/sports.
You know that feeling when your team adds that
It's a single.
that is every skill they've been looking for? Well, it's time your
But
business knew how it
when your pitcher gets a hit, it's a good day. It's a good inning.
770 million professionals to find the right people for your role. Their filtering and prioritization tools help you narrow down to just the most qualified candidates for you. It's why small businesses rate LinkedIn #1 in increasing the quality of hire versus leading competitors. Post a job for free at linkedin.com/sports. That's linkedin.com/sports.
It's time for Twitter Trending Topics, where we scan the entire universe of topics that are trending.
Damn it.
And Rob.
Only 1-0 last week, though.
Yeah, it wasn't bad.
No,
It wasn't bad.
I think I won last week, but you're up on the scoreboard early on a Monday, 1-0.
I'm not, though. I got one earlier and you didn't
Did
notice
you?
me put the one up.
Oh,
Yes.
1-1.
I can't be dishonest.
You're being
Yeah.
honest. 1-1. I respect it.
All right, John Cusack is trending.
Oh, I saw this earlier. Now I forgot what it was. Somebody from Barstool, I think, tweeted John Cusack that he's not allowed to be a White Sox fan anymore.
He approached him.
Oh, straight up to his face.
There's a video about it, and the Barstool guy's getting roasted over it. So I don't know why he said he couldn't be a fan anymore.
I'm
But
interested. I'll have to check it out after the show.
all right, the next thing that's trending is the tribal chief.
Your tribal chief, Roman Reigns, acknowledge him. Do not know why he's trending.
All right, he is trending because he is now breaking John Cena's merchandise
Really?
records, and I guess it's a big deal that a heel is doing that. And I saw. This is hard to believe from a heel. So heels don't generally sell more merch than then faces, I was unaware.
I would just like to go so far as to say that about 2 years ago, actually been longer because he's been champ for 380 something days now.
Something like that.
Threatening on it. So about 2 years ago, there was just this little old nobody from Destin, Florida, who said, "Hey, Roman Reigns would make a really good ass-kicking bad guy. Just make him heel." And Vince went, "No, he's a good guy. He's got to be a good guy. Look at the look. He's got to be a good guy." And they turned him heel. And what does he become? The best-selling wrestler of, I'm going to say, probably if he's beaten Cena, he's got to be the best-selling wrestler of all time, right?
Probably, yeah.
I mean, all you did when you finally listened to the fans and gave the people what they want is the best-selling wrestler of all time.
You dude with the pearls on at the bat and the glasses, man. I don't know.
I love him.
Wait till he looks up.
Jock Peterson wore a string of pearls last week.
He's got them on now.
Oh, yeah, he's wearing them now.
Yeah.
He wore a string of pearls, and after the game, a reporter said, "Why are you wearing the pearls? What's the backstory?" And he said, "There's no backstory. I'm just a bad bee." Didn't say B. I love that. You want to come? This is a good way to become Rob Brown's favorite player.
There you go.
A 3-run dinger into the chop house, baby. Jock Peterson with the 3-run blast into deep right. And the Bravos, ladies and gentlemen, on the board, 3-0 over the Braves over the Brewers in the bottom of the 5th. He's a bad what, Lonzo? He's a bad what? He's a bad man. That's not what he called himself. But Jock the Mohawk Peterson goes, yad! 3-0 Bravos. I'm going to go sit in my office and watch baseball, boys and girls. Thanks for listening. Thanks for hanging out. Hope you had a good day. I did. I enjoyed it. We'll try harder tomorrow, though. Mark Ryan and Diesel with Offsides up next. For Lonzo, I'm Rob. See you tomorrow right back here on The Rob Brown Show and ESPN Upstate. Later, brother. Appreciate y'all watching on the stream. See ya.